Naruto. I have 100-fold return system. Bind with Uchiha Sasuke at first. Chapter 41. In the eastern suburbs of Konoha, a group of 4 people passed through dense buildings and walked along small paths. A green field with a wide view appeared in front of them. Walking on the east suburb road, there were green fields on both sides, and in the distance were hills whose shapes could not be seen clearly. There were farmers working in the fields, and a few sparrows flew in and out. A small insect was twisted in its mouth. A thatched hut could be seen every few hundred meters, and many farm tools were placed outside the hut. Sakura was quite excited when she came here for the first time. Although she had lived in Konoha for 12 years, she was not very familiar with the fields. The air here is so good, hehe. I have been in Konoha for so long, but this is the first time I have seen such a scene. This is the first time I've seen it, too. Yagayu looked around carelessly at the tranquility, and suddenly felt that this place was more suitable for him than the Moonlight Clan. He hadn't been to the east suburbs in the past 12 years, and the places he went to most were the ninja school, the family, the commercial street, the back mountain, the training ground, and the park. He was not familiar with other places. It seems that you all stay at home. How about I take on a few more missions in the suburbs and take you to see them? Kakashi asked with a smile. Haha, that's not necessary. The 3 of them refused in unison. But it's so clean here, is there really any garbage? Yagayu was a little confused. The air here was fresh, the sky was blue, there were insects, birds, white clouds, and lush green plants. It didn't look like they needed ninjas to clean it up. The place we are going to clean up is not here. Kakashi said, we are now in a field that is planned for farming, and what we are going to clean up is the river that provides water to this field. River channel. Well, the water flowing out of the mountain, we should go there. Kakashi pointed to the hill in the distance and said lightly. After passing through the city and the fields, they finally came to the foot of the hill. Standing at the foot of the hill, Yagayu and his friends looked up and could see the top of the hill. With their speed, if they were faster, they should be able to reach the top of the hill in just 10 minutes. This mountain is so small, Yagayu murmured, and continued to climb up with the team. Soon, they came to the halfway point of the mountain. There was a cave halfway up the mountain, and the water for irrigating the farmland flowed out from this cave continuously. It was like a mysterious pocket that never ran out of water. Sakura stood in front of the cave and looked inside, only to see darkness. Suddenly, an eye emitted a sharp light that scared her. Ah, there's someone inside. Sakura hugged Yagayu's arm tightly, looking for a sense of security. Yagayu gently stroked the back of her hand and slowly walked towards the cave entrance. A magic weapon appeared out of thin air in his hand and he threw it inside. Ninjutsu without seals. Kakashi was surprised. He didn't expect that Yagayu's control over ninjutsu had reached this level. He had only seen ninjutsu without seals in storybooks. He had never seen anyone who could do this. How many aspects of my student's genius have I not discovered yet? At this time, the interior of the cave was illuminated by the fire, revealing the figures of countless bats. The brightness and temperature of the flames frightened them and they fled to the cave entrance in panic. Yagayu immediately pulled Sakura back and flew away, so that they were not swallowed by the group of bats. So many bats, Sasuke murmured. The dark flying figures reminded him of a man's summoning beast. Yagayu was still stroking Sakura's hand, comforting her. It's okay, it's just a bat, don't be scared. Yeah. Actually, Sakura was no longer afraid after seeing clearly that it was a bat. She just wanted to get more comfort and care from Yagayu. And even if there was a person inside, she was not afraid. She was only afraid of the darkness. The inside of the cave is connected to another mountain, and behind one mountain is another mountain. The entire river is continuous, just like the mountains connecting them, all the way to the Iron Kingdom. The water here all flows from the melted snow mountains of the Iron Country. On the way, it passes through villages, and some of their domestic garbage occasionally flows into the river. If it is not cleaned up for a long time, it will accumulate in the river. This river is related to the water used for Konoha's fields and some drinking water, so it is very important. Kakashi explained to the 3 people. If the enemy poisons such an important place, wouldn't Konoha be in danger? Sasuke suddenly asked coldly. Kakashi turned his head to look at him and smiled, "Don't worry about that. Since Konoha will send ninjas to clean the river regularly, they will naturally send people to check the water quality regularly to ensure that the water is not dangerous. In addition, this area is guarded by a team of Jonin, so they will not let the bad guys succeed easily." Sakura was slightly surprised. "Are there other ninjas here?" "It may not be in this mountain, but in any mountain in that mountain range." Kakashi pointed to the back of the mountain, but the Yagyu and his companions could only see the body of the mountain. "Well, those are none of our business. Our task is to clean up the domestic garbage in the river. Let's work hard and try to pick up all the garbage today." "Okay." Only Sakura responded to Kakashi, which made Kakashi a little embarrassed. But fortunately, the three of them obeyed and went to the river to pick up garbage, so that he, the captain, would not be without dignity. It is really not an easy thing to be the captain of a powerful team. Looking at the three people carrying bamboo baskets and holding tweezers, picking up garbage on the river, Kakashi also took out a book from the ninja tool bag and lay on a boulder by the river to rest. He has read this book by Jiraiya several times, and he can see new things every time. It is really a great work in the novel world. Just as Kakashi was gradually sinking into the novel, a discordant voice suddenly came to his ears. "Teacher Kakashi can get 2000 ryo without doing anything, how abominable. Quote. Turn over and pretend you didn't hear. I have a way to make it easier for us. Any solution. Shadow clone technique. Bang, bang, bang." 3 clouds of smoke exploded, and Yagyu, Sasuke, and Sakura each created a shadow clone to do the garbage picking work for them. The 3 real bodies came to Kakashi's side and lay down leisurely. Quote. Who among my family members understands? 3 genin can use the shadow clone technique. Is that okay? With the help of the shadow clones, the 4 members of Team 7 lay on the hill for half a day. Kakashi wanted to say something several times, but in the end he said nothing. Who stipulated that shadow clones cannot be used for D-level missions? At noon, the river was cleaned up and the 3 people's backpacks were filled with garbage. When the 3 people's shadow clones came ashore, the 3 people stretched at the same time. The 3 of them didn't do anything, but they looked very tired. "Hungry. Shall we go eat something?" "Good. Teacher Kakashi, do you want me to bring you some food?" I brought you lunch boxes." Kakashi opened the bamboo basket he brought with him, and inside lay 4 lunch boxes. Eating bento again. Teacher Kakashi, that bento is not tasty at all. Did you make it yourself? Kakashi blushed and dared not say a word. "Forget it, since you prepared a lunch box, let's just eat it at noon." "I have no opinion." The 3 of them took one each, opened their bento boxes and ate without expression. Kakashi's cooking skills weren't bad, but they weren't great either. Sakura thought they should treat themselves well after completing their first mission as ninjas. Kakashi didn't expect them to finish cleaning the river so quickly, so he prepared lunch boxes for them in advance. Kakashi also took a lunch box and turned around to eat. Sakura noticed Kakashi's strange behavior and asked in confusion, "Teacher Kakashi, why do you turn your back to eat?" I don't like eating face to face with others," Kakashi said without turning his head. Sakura looked suspicious and whispered to Yagyu and the others. "What do you think Kakashi's face looks like under the mask? Is it ugly, so he eats behind our backs so that we can't see it?" Boring. Sasuke was not interested and continued to concentrate on eating. Yagyu knew that Kakashi was a handsome guy, so he half-jokingly said, "It may be that Kakashi teacher thinks he is too handsome and is afraid of being handsome to us." Kakashi, who had his back to them, blushed and unconsciously sped up his eating speed. "How about we go and have a look? Some people, once they are curious about something, will be itching to know the answer anyway." Sakura is obviously such a person. Yagyu knew that if he didn't satisfy Sakura's curiosity, she might not be able to sleep well all day. "Okay, let's sneak over there. Kakashi is hiding from us, so he definitely doesn't want us to see him, so we'd better go and watch secretly." Sakura and Yagyu began to pretend nothing happened and concentrated on eating. Suddenly, their necks seemed to be stretched more than 10 meters and appeared in front of Kakashi. But Kakashi reacted faster and put on the mask the moment Yagyu moved. While still chewing the rice in his mouth, he said with a satisfied look on his face, "I'm full." Quote, Sakura, Yagyu, what are you looking at me for? Yagyu. Sakura laughed and said, "It's nothing, I just wanted to see if you've eaten enough, Kakashi-sensei. If you haven't, I have more." "Ah, thank you Sakura, I'm full." Kakashi started to clean up the empty lunch box. In an instant, he stuffed all the food in the lunchbox into his mouth and put on the mask again. Kakashi's hand speed was so fast that he could eat everything. Yagyu and Sakura admired. "What should I do? Kakashi-sensei seems to be alert. Let's find another opportunity. How about we treat Kakashi to dinner tonight?" "Good idea. Sasuke, do you have anything to do tonight?" "I don't go." "No, if you don't go, we too will invite Kakashi-sensei and he will definitely not come." "Boring. I advise you to care less about this kind of thing. If you have time, you might as well practice more and become stronger, so as not to hinder your future missions." Faced with Sasuke's sarcasm, Sakura didn't take it to heart. On the contrary, she continued to tempt Sasuke's curiosity as if nothing had happened. "Don't you want to know what Kakashi looks like under his mask? Big buck teeth. Will I have a face full of pockmarks? Or sausage-mouthed Kakashi?" Quote. Seeing that Sasuke was a little interested, Yagyu also said, "You have to eat dinner tonight anyway, why not go together?" Sasuke glanced at Yagyu and saw that Yagyu was not really interested in what Kakashi looked like. But it was just a matter of eating, and it didn't take much time. So he agreed. Okay. The three of them invited Kakashi to have dinner together, in the name of the team's first completed mission. Kakashi did not refuse. In the evening, the four of them came to the barbecue restaurant. Sakura thought that the barbecue should be grilled and eaten all the time, and Kakashi would definitely not be able to wear the mask all the time. But things don't always develop as people think. Kakashi has been grilling meat for the three of them since they entered the barbecue restaurant. The three of them couldn't stop eating, but Kakashi didn't eat a single bite. "Teacher Kakashi, you should eat it too, don't keep roasting it for us." "It doesn't matter, you guys eat first, I'll eat later." Kakashi smiled with his eyes narrowed, his hands moving non-stop. Yagyu had been observing Kakashi. He felt that Kakashi must have known their plan, and now he was deliberately not letting them see what he looked like under the mask. Well, maybe there was a hint of bad taste, deliberately teasing them. But he didn't know what Kakashi would do after feeding them. Would he use the, "look, flying saucer," method? Soon, the three Yagyu were full, and even their stomachs were a whole circle bigger. Just like a seal with its belly turned upside down. "Hurry," Sakura burped and said to Kakashi, "Teacher Kakashi, we are all full, it's your turn now." At this time, Kakashi was still grilling meat and had already filled his bowl. "Yeah," Kakashi smiled slightly, and suddenly seemed to see something, and asked in surprise, "Oh, Ino, Hinata, are you coming to eat barbecue too?" Hearing the names of Ino and Hinata, the three of them subconsciously looked back. Sasuke didn't know why he looked back, but when he saw Yagyu and Sakura looking back, he subconsciously looked back. But when they looked over, they found that they were two ordinary strange girls, not Hinata and Ino at all. "Kakashi-sensei, you got the wrong person." Sakura hadn't reacted yet, and when she turned around she saw Kakashi had already eaten all the meat in the bowl. He was still chewing the remaining meat. "I'm full, thank you for the treat." Well, in the end, they still didn't see Kakashi's real appearance. Although Yagyu could knock Kakashi's club in the middle of the night, Yagyu felt that he was not so bored to do this just to see what Kakashi looked like. Sakura was a little unwilling to give up, and looked for opportunities to take off Kakashi's mask from time to time. She even dragged Yagyu and Sasuke to follow Kakashi for a day. But they got nothing. Kakashi would not take off his mask even when he was sleeping, and Yagyu had to admire Kakashi's awareness of guarding against his handsome face. On this day, because the means shown by Yagyu and others were far beyond the average genin, Kakashi took 2D level tasks for them to help them transition, so he began to take C level tasks for them. D level tasks are mostly trivial things in the village, such as cleaning up garbage, weeding, doing chores, looking for pets, etc., and there will be no combat. The reward for such tasks is between 500 and 10,000. Sea-level tasks are mostly tasks that need to be completed outside the village. Most of these tasks are tasks such as protection, escorting items and documents, clearing wild animals and chasing thieves. There is a chance that this type of mission will involve a fight, and the reward for the mission is between 10,000 and 50,000 ryo. The mission Kakashi gave them was to escort a document. Deliver the Hokage's confidential documents to the daimyo's mansion, and the reward for the mission is 10,000 ryo. At the entrance of the village, everyone from Team 7 gathered here, and Kakashi was giving them the final instructions before departure. There will be no danger in this mission. It is mainly to let you understand this type of mission and how to complete the delivery of items safely and quickly. By the way, although this is the first time leaving the village, do you need me to remind you what you need to prepare? Sasuke and Yagayu were both quiet, so Sakura responded tactfully, a set of clothes, some food pills, ninja tools and weapons, and a map. Well, almost. But since we are delivering something, we don't have to bring extra things like clothes. In fact, as long as it is not a long-term garrison mission, clothes and daily necessities are mostly not needed. If you have that space, you might as well prepare some antidote pills to prevent yourself from being bitten by poisonous snakes or spiders and dying in the wild. Thinking of poisonous snakes and spiders, Sakura shuddered in fear. Teacher Kakashi, if we are delayed by special circumstances, or our clothes are damaged, it would be useful to prepare some clothes, right? Sakura questioned. Kakashi said calmly. In theory, this is true, but generally speaking, you need to change clothes when you are in a battle, which causes serious damage to your clothes. But in this kind of battle, you can still protect your clothes. I can only say that you really like taking a bath. Sakura blushed, feeling a little embarrassed and not knowing how to respond. As for the special circumstances that delayed the trip, remember, we are on a mission, not on vacation. We can't stop for a few days just because we saw some beautiful scenery or met some interesting people. We must not only deliver the documents as soon as possible, but also report back as soon as possible after the documents are delivered, and inform the Hokage that the mission is completed. Because if we don't report back on time, the Hokage will have reason to suspect that something happened to us, and he will send other teams to look for us. This is a waste of resources, don't you understand? Got it. Sakura nodded like a chicken pecking at rice. She didn't expect that a simple task of delivering something would have so many things to pay attention to. It seems that being a ninja is not as easy as I thought. At the same time, Yagayu was also thoughtful. Although it was just an ordinary sea-level mission, it is undeniable that he learned a lot. In his previous life, he saw that Naruto and his team could change their missions temporarily when they were doing missions, and even stayed for at least a month to ensure the construction of the bridge in the Land of Waves. At that time, he thought that the ninjas' missions had a high degree of freedom. Now it seems that this is not the case. At that time, Kakashi must have used some method to pass on the information about their mission change, otherwise it would be incredible that a sea-level mission to escort an old man delayed him, a senior ninja, for more than a month. There is no reason for Sarutobi Hiruzen to let Kakashi and his team waste time. There was no conversation for half a day, and they were traveling at a high speed all the way. Occasionally, Kakashi stopped to teach them how to identify the map and familiarize themselves with the terrain of the Land of Fire. Where are the wild beasts? Where are the poisonous beasts? Where is the rugged terrain? Where is the flat terrain? Where is the path, and which path can be taken to reach the destination faster? It was obvious that Kakashi wanted to train them as soon as possible. At noon, Team 7, after a non-stop journey, finally arrived at the daimyo mansion on time. They did not enter the daimyo mansion, but handed the document to a guard and left. Kakashi-sensei, is it really safe for us to just hand over the documents to a security guard? Sakura asked doubtfully. That gatekeeper was once a ninja of our Konoha, and is now one of the 12 guardian ninjas responsible for protecting the daimyo's safety. Don't think he's just a gatekeeper, his strength is not weaker than mine, he's a real Jonin. Kakashi explained calmly. Jonin. Sakura was secretly shocked. She didn't expect that a plain-looking security guard would be a Jonin. Yes, and the document was originally given to him. The destination of our mission is the daimyofu, but the recipient is not the daimyofu. Oh. Sakura and the other two did not look at the specific content of the mission, and Kakashi did not tell them either. He just said that the destination was the daimyo's mansion, and the mission was to deliver a document. That's all. After delivering the document, the three did not stay in the daimyo's city. They took a soldier's grain pill and immediately started their return journey. It was not until dusk that they finally got back to Konoha. Then the four of them went to the Hokage building to report the results of the mission to Sarutobi Hiruzen and then received their rewards. The total reward was 10,000 ryo, with Yagayu, Sakura and Sasuke each getting 2,000 ryo, and Kakashi getting 4,000 ryo. As the captain of the team, even if he did nothing, or just did the same thing as everyone else, he is also the one who gets the most compensation. Because generally speaking, the captain of a team needs to make more leadership and decision-making. And his strength is generally the strongest in the team, so almost every team distributes the compensation in this way. Although Kakashi is not the strongest in Team 7, the rewards will be distributed in the same way as a normal team. On a new day, Liu Sheng was about to go to the training ground to meet up with the rest of Team 7. But Shi Yan found him first. This mission took so long. Well, there is a rather troublesome task. Shi Yan nodded, looked at Liu Sheng and said, "Do you have a task today?" "No, it's just a daily gathering," Yagayu replied. In addition to daily tasks, each team will also gather for daily training. However, this is not mandatory. If you have something to do, you can naturally not go. "Then will you walk with me today?" Shi Yan said. "Okay, then I'll have my shadow clone go to the training ground and tell Kakashi." Yeah, Yagayu transformed a shadow clone and asked him to pass on the message. Watching the shadow clone running away, Yagayu now wanted a summoned beast even more. A summoned beast can test poison, help him run errands, and resist damage. Kill 3 birds with 1 stone. But it is not easy to find a summoned beast that has all 3. Well, maybe we can find a few more. 1 to test poison, 1 to legs, 1 to resist damage. What's wrong? Shi Yan saw Liu Sheng's strangeness and asked. "Nothing much, I just thought it would be nice to have a summoning beast, so I wouldn't have to waste chakra creating shadow clones to pass on information." Yes, each shadow clone will take away half of one's chakra. If it is not during the mission, it is fine. If it is during the mission, losing half of the chakra will greatly weaken the combat effectiveness of the ninja. Shi Yan agreed with Liu Sheng's idea. In fact, if she could find a suitable summoning beast, she would also like to raise one. I remember that the Hitaki clan has a special method for training summoning beasts. Maybe you can learn from Kakashi. Shi Yan suddenly thought of something and said. I want to learn, but he may not teach me. Yagayu smiled slightly. The difference between summoned beasts and ordinary beasts is that they have spiritual intelligence. Similar to the spirit beasts in the fantasy world, these summoned beasts have more powerful strength and smarter brains than ordinary beasts. Some can even speak. For this, refer to Kakashi's summoned beast Puck. He has considered asking Kakashi for the training method of summoned beasts, but he has not had time to ask. And judging from the quality of Kakashi's summoned beasts, it is probably difficult to meet Yagayu's expectations for summoned beasts. There are several families in Konoha who have summoned beasts, but they generally do not teach others how to do it. Shion is talking about the Inuzuka family, the Aburame family, etc. In addition to these families with summoned beasts, there are many ninjas in Konoha who have the means to cultivate summoned beasts. For example, the monkeys of the Sarutobi family, the turtles of Might Guy, the crows of Yamashiro Aoba, etc. If Yagayu wants to get a summoned beast, he can only choose from these people. I will ask Kakashi later. By the way, did you come to me today to challenge me? Well, although I believe that no one in the younger generation of the Maoyu clan can be your opponent, others may not believe it. So you still need to go there. Shi Yan blushed slightly and nodded. It's okay, it's not a big deal. Besides, I'd be willing to take on the challenge 100 times to marry a good wife like you. What nonsense. Even if you succeed in the challenge, we are only officially engaged. We can only get married when you are 18 years old. Shi Yan's face turned redder. She was obviously the older one, but she was always suppressed by Liu Sheng, like a little woman. Maybe this is the pressure that strength brings to Shi Yan. No matter how old a man is, she will have some admiration for him. Moreover, although Liu Sheng is much younger than herself, he doesn't look small at all. At the age of 12, he is not shorter than herself, and is even a little taller. When the two of them stand together, no one can tell who is older and who is younger. 18 years old, that's a long time. It's just 6 years, I will wait for you. Xian looked serious, and Lu Sheng couldn't help being a little dazed looking at that beautiful face. After a long time, he came back to his senses, then he curled the corners of his mouth and smiled, okay. The next day, Yagayu, dressed in white and holding a sword at his waist, came to the Azuki clan alone. When he arrived at the gate, he was stopped by the guard. Stop, who are you? Moonlight Yagayu, are you Sister Xian's fiancé? You know me, everyone in the younger generation of the Maoyu clan knows you, the guy who stole our clan flower. The man gritted his teeth, and seemed to have a deep prejudice against Lu Sheng. Hee, I'm here to challenge myself today, can you let me in? Humph, the guard snorted and stepped aside, saying to him, just follow this road and you will reach our Maoyu clan's training ground. The clan leader and his men are already waiting for you there. Thank you, Yagayu smiled slightly, trying to be more friendly. After all, he came to marry a wife, not to mess up the place. And Yagayu could understand the attitude of the young guard. People in this world do not oppose marriage within the same clan. As long as they are not siblings, no one will object to anything. After all, blood is very important to many families. Just like the Uchiha clan and the Hyuga clan. Too much intermarriage will only dilute their family bloodline and make it difficult for their children to inherit the family eye technique. They walked forward, and there was no one. It seemed that the Azuki clan had been prepared today. After a while, they finally arrived at the training ground. Dozens of people looked at him, which made him feel a little pressure for no reason. Hi, hello, quote. Is this Mao Yu Xian's fiancé? Why does he look so stupid? Isn't he 12 years old? Why doesn't he look that young? But judging from his appearance, he is still quite handsome and worthy of Sister Xian. What's the point of being handsome? You have to be strong to get by. If you can't beat us, don't try to take our Sister Xian away. Stop talking, the clan leader has gone. The clan members were talking about it, but the clan leader of the Maoyu clan came towards Lu Sheng with a few clan elders. Moonlight Yagayu, it's me, I met the head of the Maoyu clan. Ha ha ha, as expected, he is the strongest genius of the Moonlight clan in 1,000 years. He really looks extraordinary. 1,000 years, Lu Sheng looked puzzled. Is the Moonlight clan's family history more than 200 years? It's the old man who blew the moonlight noodle, ha 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 ha. Quote. That old Biden is really good at talking. Although the old man Zemian was bragging, I still believed in Xian. I believe in Xian's vision. I didn't expect Xian to speak well of me in front of their clan leader. Lu Sheng was secretly delighted. I believe too. Ha 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 ha. Good, being young is fun. I won't say any more nonsense, the ring is ready, let's start the challenge. Good. There was a medium-sized arena on the training ground of the Maoyu family. It seemed that this competition would be different from the usual ones. He walked onto the arena and looked at the people watching him below. He saw Maoyu Yugao. Yugao smiled at him and told him not to be nervous. Yagayu smiled back and told her not to worry. That guy is smiling at Sister Xian. Scoundrel, he dared to smile at our Sister Xian before they are even engaged. Who knows what he would do if they were engaged? Do what? That is, why are you asking so many questions? Yagayu ignored the noisy crowd and slowly said, I believe everyone knows me. Yes, I am Yugong Liusheng. Today I will take away the flower of your clan, Yugong Liusheng. Hearing the flower of the clan, Mao Yu Xian blushed unconsciously. The originally noisy crowd also fell silent, and then a group of Xian's diehard fans shouted angrily. Want to take our Sister Xian away? What the hell, you little fool, wait for me to kill you. I can't stand it anymore, this guy is too arrogant. I'm going to be the first one to go up and beat him, no one else can snatch it from me. But, I don't know why I think he's so handsome. Yes, so arrogant and handsome. Hey, girls, can you stand together with us? This guy is trying to steal our goddess. The girl rolled her eyes and said, even if there is no Lu Sheng, you have no chance, you dead dog. My fellow tribesmen, I don't like what you said. You can say we lick dogs, but why do you have to add the word, die? Don't we lick dogs have dignity? Yes, don't we lickers have dignity? The inexplicable condemnation of Lu Sheng turned into a fight for the dignity of lickers. Lu Sheng could also hear the noise below, and he was a little silent in his heart. The people of the Maoyu clan don't seem to be very smart. Silence. The head of the Maoyu clan shouted angrily to quiet down the scene. What's the point of arguing in front of outsiders? If you have the ability, knock the other person down in the ring. What kind of ninja are you if you are only good at talking? We were wrong, clan leader. Everyone bowed their heads and admitted their mistakes. Only Shi Yan held her head high and looked at the brilliant Lu Sheng on the stage. Clan leader Mao Yu followed Shi Yan's gaze and saw Lu Sheng's calm expression. The breeze blew through his clothes and long hair, and a faint smile appeared on the corner of his mouth. Compared with his clan members, it was like heaven and earth. Humph, what a bunch of useless people. It was embarrassing in front of outsiders, and the head of the Maoyu clan had no good temper towards these clan members. Fortunately, thinking that the handsome Lu Sheng on the stage might be the son-in-law of his family in the future, he laughed again. This competition is a defense mode. The defender is Gecko Ryusei, and the challengers are all young people under the age of 30 from the Azuki clan. The competition lasts until sunset. If no one defeats Gecko Ryusei or knocks him out of the ring when the sun sets, Gecko Ryusei wins the test. On the contrary, if Gecko Ryusei persists until sunset, Gecko Ryusei wins. Have you understood? Clear. Well, let's not waste time. The confident young man from the Maoyu clan can go on stage. I'll do it. As soon as the Maoyu clan leader finished speaking, a muscular man with a naked upper body walked up. My name is Mao Yushin, and I am Shi Yan's eldest cousin. You were very arrogant just now. But it's not that easy for you to take away the flower of our Maoyu clan. Hello, cousin, Yagayu greeted with a smile, looking harmless. He was arrogant just now, but he was like a little lamb in the next moment, which made his cousin stunned for a moment. Then he became furious again. Boy, it's too late to make friends now, and I'm not your cousin. Watch out. Exploding mountain fist. Mao Yushin burst out with terrible energy and rushed towards Moonlight Yagayu at a very fast speed. It was surprising that in this family dominated by kendo, there were actually pure physical practitioners. However, Mao Yushin's physical skills were far inferior to Might Guy's, not even a hair of his could match. Too slow, Yagayu said calmly, then slowly stretched out a hand, as if he had foreseen the future, and blocked the eruption of Mao Yushin. The chakra that was rushing into the sky was instantly extinguished. One hand actually stopped me. How is it possible? Azuki-san was stunned. I became a Chunin by relying on physical skills. My physical skills are not inferior to those of Jonin. But Yagayu actually blocked himself with one hand. He was only 12 years old. The other tribesmen were also shocked. Mao Yushin, did you not have breakfast today? Such a big guy was stopped by a little ghost. Mao Yu Mountain, if you really can't do it, just come down and let us do it. After all, our Mao Yu clan is still a swordsmanship family. I said that a taijutsu ninja is not good. What kind of ninja is a taijutsu ninja? Even if he becomes a chunin, he is not as good as a newly graduated genin. Cousin, do you have any other tricks? Use them all, you won't have a chance later. Yagayu smiled faintly, let go of Mao Yushin's hand, and looked relaxed. Mao Yushin was already very angry when he heard the tribe members' sarcasm and ridicule, and he was even more furious when he heard Yagayu's provocation. Stop looking down on me. Next, I will show you the ultimate physical skills I have practiced for 28 years in Maoyu Mountain. The ultimate physical technique secret. Everyone was puzzled, and Yagayu was also a little curious. Could it be that there were still masters among Konoha's physical technique ninjas? Mao Yushin began to make countless muscle-showing poses. While showing off his muscles, he burst out his body's chakra. He kept shouting the secret of the mountain. Yagayu could see that every time he made a move, his chakra would surge. And his body gradually showed the signs of a strong man. Red sky-high chakra, erect hair, and prominent blue veins. It seemed that Mao Yushin had undergone a transformation and became an ultimate strong man. But in fact, his strength had not improved much. Yagayu felt that Mao Yushin's chakra had only increased by about 20% compared to before. The momentum was more intimidating, but the strength was hard to describe. There were not many people who saw this at the scene, and many Mao Yu people cheered when they saw Mao Yushin burst out. That's it, Mao Yushin, use your big body to beat this young boy. Still want to come to our family to snatch people? Then you have to see the ultimate physical skills master of our Azuki clan. Ha 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 ha. Boy, I have already improved my body to the strongest state. Even a Jonin dare not take my punch. I advise you to admit defeat, lest you be beaten to death by me. With the support of the clan members, Mao Yushin also became arrogant. However, the weak are weak after all, and will not change because of his attitude. Yagayu lightly stretched out a finger, hooked it, and said, "Come on, beat me to death. You little brat, if you don't know how to cherish the opportunity I gave you, don't blame me for being ruthless." The secret of the invincible ultimate mountain in the universe, the might of the tiger. The might of the tiger. Yagayu was stunned for a moment, looking at the red tiger transformed by the chakra of Mao Yushin. It does look a bit like. Take my claw. Mao Yushin bent his fingers into claws and grabbed at Lu Sheng's chest, but Lu Sheng had a calm expression and did not take Mao Yushin's attack seriously at all. Seeing Lu Sheng motionless, everyone thought Lu Sheng was scared silly or did not react. Brother Sean's aura is too strong, will this kid be scared silly? I think Brother Sean was too fast, and he didn't react at all. Everyone was talking about it, waiting for Mao Yushin to beat Lu Sheng down. But Mao Yushin's claws stopped 1 centimeter away from Lu Sheng's chest. It was not that Mao Yushin was kind and showed mercy, but at this time there was a sword between his claws and Lu Sheng's chest. To be precise, it was a scabbard. Lu Sheng held up the sword in one hand and blocked Mao Yushin's ultimate secret. Brother, do you have any other tricks? Yagayu smiled slightly and looked at Mao Yushin, who looked incredulous. How is this possible? Even a Jonin wouldn't dare to take my attack easily. You can't do it with just your physical strength. As he spoke, Mao Yushin felt relieved. I admit defeat. If you are not as strong as others, it is useless to say anything. Mao Yushin is not someone who cannot afford to lose. Boy, you are really strong. Let's have a competition with each other when we have a chance. Well, I want to learn the secrets of the mountain from my cousin if I have a chance. It looks very impressive. Mao Yushin blushed. I have mostly used my skills in this area. You can't improve your strength by learning from me. Yagayu laughed. It turned out that he knew that his moves were too flashy. He thought Mao Yushin didn't know. Being handsome is a lifelong thing. Yagayu said. Azuki-san was stunned for a moment, then laughed, ha 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 ha, I didn't expect to find a soulmate in this life. Moonlight Yagayu. Oh no, brother-in-law, you must hold on to the end. The two of us will be the most handsome men in the entire Mao Yu clan. What brother-in-law? Mao Yushin, you lost the competition and you are a traitor. Yes, you actually sold out your sister just because of a few words from others. Are you still a human being? Get lost. Do I need you to teach me how to do things? After listening to the criticism from other tribesmen, Mao Yushin replied unhappily, and then stepped down from the stage. The competition had to continue, and time could not be wasted because of other things. After all, Lu Sheng's challenge was limited in time. When the time was up, it meant that Lu Sheng had challenged the entire Mao Yu clan by himself, and could marry Mao Yu Xian, the clan flower of the Mao Yu clan. Soon the second person came on stage. This person was a young man with a short knife on his back, and his eyes were a little gloomy. He didn't look like a person who was easy to get along with. Mao Yu Qinghua, please teach me. Quite polite. Lu Sheng was a little surprised. He thought that this man who looked difficult to get along with would start to curse. Just like that older cousin. Moonlight, hey, shit. Yagayu was just about to give his name to be polite. Suddenly, Mao Yu Qinghua appeared in front of him and slashed at him with a sword. A sneak attack. Young people have no martial ethics. Yagayu barely dodged Qinghua's sword, his eyes gloomy. Since you are unkind, don't blame me for being unjust. Although Mao Yushin also attacked him with all his strength just now, it was fair and square. And considering that he is Mao Yu Xian's cousin and a member of the clan, Yagayu still held back to give him some face. But Mao Yu Qinghua, Yagayu didn't kill him, which was already a big deal for him. Secret sword. Moon Shadow. Yagayu drew his sword in an instant, and the whole person disappeared from the spot like a ghost. The speed was so fast that even the countless Mao Yu people watching the battle couldn't see clearly, let alone Mao Yu Qinghua, a mere chunin. By the time he reacted, Yagayu's sword was already against his neck. Mao Yu Qinghua sneak attacked and forced Yagayu back, and he still wanted to pursue the victory, but he was subdued before he moved, and the whole person was stunned. The gloom in his eyes also turned into astonishment. You lose, Yagayu said coldly. Yagayu didn't show any good face to the man who didn't follow the ethics of martial arts in the competition. Mao Yu Qinghua was silent for a while, tightened and loosened the sword in his hand, and finally sighed helplessly, I lose. I'm sorry, I just watched you fight with Mao Yushin. I know I'm no match for you in a head-on confrontation, so I resorted to this strategy, I hope you don't mind. Yagayu smiled slightly, sheathed his sword, and kicked him off the ring while he didn't react. Now it's not strange anymore. Mao Yu Qinghua fell down in a rather embarrassing manner, and his blue clothes were covered with dust. However, even though he was kicked, he just got up calmly, patted his trouser legs and clothes, and then turned around and bowed to Lu Sheng. Thank you for your forgiveness. He left after saying that, but before leaving, he glanced at Mao Yu Xian in the crowd, with a trace of reluctance in his eyes, and then left somewhat lonely. Yagayu naturally noticed this scene, and it seemed that he was an infatuated man who was obsessed with his wife who had not yet married. Facing an opponent that he could not defeat, he resolutely stood on the challenge stage. Even if he gave up his face and did not hesitate to attack secretly, he would try to snatch back the woman he loved. Well, how should I put it? If he hadn't robbed his woman, Yagayu would have admired him. But if it was his woman, Yagayu said that not killing him was already giving him face. I'm not moved at all. Is there any other brother who would like to teach me? Yagayu stood with a sword in hand. He had won 2 battles and left an image of being invincible to all the Mao Yu people. You should know that Mao Yushin and Mao Yu Qinghua were geniuses second only to Mao Yu Xian in the tribe. But the two of them could not hurt Yagayu at all even if they used all their strength. Who else could compete with Yagayu? However, although they thought so, the people of Mao Yu did not stop challenging. If they couldn't beat 1 or 2, what about 10 or 20? They didn't believe that Yagayu's chakra was endless, nor did they believe that the round-robin battle would not kill Yagayu. So one after another went up, was defeated, went up, and was defeated. In the blink of an eye, it was noon. So far, there were as many as 15 people in the Mao Yu clan who had been defeated. Yagayu fought 1 against 15 battles, and 15 wins. So far, he is still unscathed. Who else? It was noon and no one had come up for a long time. The entire Mao Yu clan was silent. How come he is so strong? Is this kid really only 12 years old? I heard he just graduated. If he were to practice for a few more years, I wonder how strong he would be. The Moonlight clan has produced such a strong genius, I'm afraid their future is limitless. The Azuki clan and the Moonlight clan have always been families of the same level, but with the emergence of Moonlight Liusheng, they will probably be left behind in the future. Fortunately, Azuki Yugao will marry him in the future, and the Azuki clan may be able to go further and obtain more resources. If Moonlight Liusheng can become a Hokage in the future. The Mao Yu clan leader didn't know how wonderful this was. After a while, a figure walked onto the stage. Xian. Yoyoshi looked surprised, but when he saw the lunchbox in her hand, he suddenly realized. It turned out that she was bringing me lunch. Are you hungry? Xian asked with a smile. Somewhat. Do you want to eat? I want to. Lu Sheng nodded. Then defeat me. Quote. Before Lu Sheng could react, Xian suddenly drew her sword and slashed at him. Secret sword. Moon shadow. Xian showed no mercy and used a killing move. Fortunately, Lu Sheng reacted quickly and dodged it quickly. What are you doing, Xian? If you want to marry me, don't you have to defeat all the younger generations of the Mao Yu clan? I am one of them, so don't I have the qualifications to fight you? Of course not, it was only 4 years ago. I haven't made no progress in these 4 years, don't underestimate me. The two communicated and fought at the same time. However, Lu Sheng kept dodging and didn't attack, while Xian kept waving the long sword in her hand, with sharp moves. Hidden killing chicken. This is to kill her husband. Yagayu smiled bitterly, but now that things have come to this, he has no choice but to fight. He knew that Xian came on the field not because she didn't want to marry him, but to shut up some people in the Maoyu family. She is the first of the younger generation of the Maoyu family and the strongest. In this round-robin battle, if she doesn't go on the field, it won't be considered the strongest strength of the younger generation of the Maoyu family. And the younger generation of the Maoyu family has actually been convinced by him. If no one else from the Maoyu family goes on the field, then this competition will end early. Xian also wants to win back some face for the younger generation of the Maoyu family. They can lose, but they can't be cowardly. Don't keep running, draw your sword and cut me. Xian missed the attack and urged. Just add some water, don't add the sea, it's too fake. Xian whispered as she got close to Lu Sheng. Lu Sheng understood, it's just acting. This is easy. The next moment, Lu Sheng also started to use sword moves. Secret Sword, Moon Shadow, Konoha-style swordsmanship, 3-day moon dance. Uchiha-style swordsmanship, Halo dance. The two fought for 300 rounds before the winner was decided. Xian was defeated by Lu Sheng. I lost, let's eat. Xian turned around and was about to leave, but Lu Sheng grabbed her hand and said, let's eat together. Noticing the gazes of other tribesmen, Xian blushed and said, no, I've eaten. Shaking off Lu Sheng's hand, Xian quickly left the ring. The audience in the audience was fed a mouthful of dog food. Have you eaten? I haven't, but I'm full. Me too. In fact, they had already seen that Yagyu was timid and must have let him win. But the strength of Yagyu and Yugao still shocked them greatly. In addition to eating dog food from the two, their most important gain was their understanding of swordsmanship. It turned out that those secret techniques of Konoha could be used in this way. It turned out that swordsmanship could be so powerful. Watching the duel between the two top swordsmanship masters was a pleasure for all the members of the Azuki clan. Even the Azuki clan leader and several elders who had practiced swordsmanship for decades were no exception. Xian is really a better child than her teacher. She is old now and can no longer be a match for the young people. That Gecko Yagyu is even more amazing. At such a young age, he has mastered all the secrets of Konoha style. That must be the Uchiha style, right? He actually integrated fire escape into his swordsmanship. This guy is so terrifying. Haha, that old guy Yugong Zemian must be laughing to death, such a genius has appeared. Do you think it is possible for Gecko Yagyu to reach the level of Cage? Reaching Cage level strength through swordsmanship? Never heard of it. Just because you've never heard of it doesn't mean it's impossible. I think Gecko Yagyu has the potential to be a Cage. If Gecko Yagyu can achieve Cage level, maybe we can also get the qualification to be Hokage, hehe. The position of Hokage is not so easy to get, just like Hatake Tsukumo. Shish, be careful with your words. The matter about Hatake Tsukumo is not a secret. The patriarchs of all the big and small families have heard about the cause of his death. Because he failed to save his companions, he was blamed by the villagers and died of self-blame. That kind of strong man. How could he blame himself to the point of committing suicide because of a failed mission? They simply did not believe that such a strong man would have such a poor psychological quality. Moreover, the so-called companions that Hatake Tsukumo saved were from the Hyuga clan. These people were not grateful for being saved and turned the tables. They did not believe that there was no one instigating this. Thinking of the relationship between the Hyuga clan and the third generation of Hokage, this matter became weird. No one dared to explore the truth. In the training ground of the Azuki clan, Yagyu sat alone on the ring and ate silently. The people in the audience just watched him eat, but no one came up to challenge him again. Many people watched the sun gradually move towards the west, and they were very anxious, but they could not beat Yagyu, and they could not do anything they wanted to do. After several hours, the sun was finally about to set. The afterglow of the setting sun hit the ring, and Yagyu sat alone on the ring silently, doing nothing, and even dozed off a little. It's almost time, we can end it. The head of the Maoyu clan looked at Xian and said with relief. In fact, everything could have ended when Xian lost. But since it was said that it would end when the sun sets, the head of the Maoyu clan couldn't say it would end early. He was afraid of creating rumors that Lu Sheng won unfairly. There are precedents of the terribleness of rumors. The head of the Mao Yu clan didn't want this engagement challenge to become a handle for some people to fight against Lu Sheng and Shi Yan. He simply waited until the time was over and solved the matter perfectly. In this way, the engagement of the two would be a good story, and there would be no criticism from the villains. Time is up. Moonlight Liu Sheng successfully defended the ring. After hearing what the Mao Yu clan leader said, many Mao Yu clan members couldn't help but sigh. Although they knew they couldn't beat Moonlight Liu Sheng, they couldn't help feeling disappointed when everything was settled. The entire Mao Yu clan was swept away by an outsider. Although it was for an engagement, it was not a good thing for the young people of this generation of the Mao Yu clan. Because the reputation of Moonlight Liu Sheng and Mao Yu Zigao was achieved by stepping on their faces. As if seeing what the clan members were thinking, the Mao Yu clan leader said lightly, "I know what everyone is thinking. Do you think it's shameful for a group of people to lose to one person?" Everyone was silent, which was considered as tacit agreement. Actually, there is nothing shameful about this. Every era has its own geniuses. I, your clan leader, am just a little Kurami in our era. There were 3 generations of Hokage before him, and his peers included the 3 ninjas of Konoha and Hitaki Tsukumo. Then there was the 4th Hokage. That is to say, they did not come to challenge our Mao Yu clan, otherwise I would not have lost more beautifully than you. The most comforting words in this world are not to encourage you to cheer up and look forward, but someone telling you we are almost the same. Hearing that there are people who are almost the same as you, no matter how painful the experience is, it will make you feel better. Most of the younger generation of the Mao Yu clan now have this mentality. The Mao Yu clan leader continued, "I tell you this not to make you find psychological comfort, nor to make you accept to be bad, but to tell you that the ninjas of our Mao Yu clan can afford to lose. Dare to admit your failure, dare to face failure, and strive to become better. Have you understood?" "Understood, clan leader." A group of Mao Yu clan members shouted deafeningly, just like in a pyramid scheme. Lu Sheng had to admire the ability of the Mao Yu clan leader. If being strong-mouthed had a level, the Mao Yu clan leader must be the king. The next thing was a family reunion. Lu Sheng, as the designated son-in-law of the Mao Yu clan, was warmly entertained by the Mao Yu clan and had a sumptuous dinner together. Of course, he was not able to stay overnight. After all, Lu Sheng was only 12 years old. Although his body developed rapidly, he was not married yet and had to go back to the Moonlight clan to sleep. The next day, the news of the marriage between the Moonlight clan and the Mao Yu clan spread throughout Konoha. The Mao Yu clan leader asked the clan members to spread the news of Mao Yu Xian and Moonlight Lu Sheng's engagement throughout Konoha. There was even a long love story. It was like love at first sight. The mutual appreciation between geniuses. In short, there are countless versions, all of which are about the beautiful love between the two. In a short time, the names of Azuki Yugao and Gekko Yagyu spread throughout Konoha, and even spread beyond Konoha village. A long time later, when Gekko Yagyu became famous in the ninja world, some theaters even rehearsed their story into a drama and toured in various countries. The story of the moon's love moved countless boys and girls. Countless people yearn for the legendary love of Gekko Yagyu and Azuki Yugao. This is too exaggerated. At the number 7 training ground, while enjoying Sakura's massage, Yagyu listened to Sakura telling him some recent legends about him in Konoha. Yagyu couldn't help but twitch his mouth a few times after hearing such a legendary love story. In previous years, the marriage between the two families was very low-key, but the genius strength displayed by Yagyu did not allow them to be low-key. They were deeply afraid that the Moonlight clan or the Moonlight Yagyu would regret the marriage with other families, and then they would be happy for nothing. After all, the two were not married, and the engagement could be broken off. But if everyone in Konoha knew about it, it would be difficult for Yagyu to break off the engagement. Even if the Moonlight Yagyu shamelessly insisted on breaking off the engagement, no family would be shameless enough to snatch the son-in-law from their Mao Yu clan. Even if other female fairies snatched Yagyu's heart, they could not snatch Mao Yu Xian's legitimate status. It can be said that the Mao Yu clan's actions were all cunning. Humph, now everyone in Konoha knows about your love story with Sister Xian, how you fell in love at first sight under the moonlight. Haha, are you jealous? Yagyu scratched Sakura's nose. Sakura snorted and turned her head away without saying anything. However, the strength in her hand increased a little, Obviously she was a little dissatisfied. Okay, don't be angry, we will get engaged when the time comes, and I will ask some people to spread our love story throughout Konoha. Oh no, Ninja World. I don't want to. The story of you and Sister Shion has spread all over the Fire Country. If you spread my version, wouldn't I be a mistress? It's so embarrassing. I don't want to be called the woman who stole Sister Shion's man. Ha ha ha, yours and hers, they're all mine. The casual chat between Yagayu and the other man attracted Kakashi's attention. Yagayu, it's better to be loyal in feelings. You'll be in a lot of trouble if you flirt with other girls. Yagayu raised his eyebrows and asked, Kakashi, have you ever liked anyone? In love, a girl. Girl, Kakashi didn't know why Yagayu emphasized a girl after love. Can I still fall in love with a man? Kakashi was confused for a second, then said, no. So what qualifications do you, a single guy who has been single for more than 20 years, have to give me advice on my relationship? Quote. If you were to ask Kakashi, with your looks and abilities, if you were to seek a wife in Konoha, the girls chasing you would line up from Konoha to the Hidden Cloud Village. If you are interested, I would help you post a ninja mission to seek a wife in the entire ninja world. How about that? Don't worry, you don't have to pay for it, I'll pay for it for you. No need. Kakashi's mouth twitched, and he said something in a hurry and fled away. But what Kakashi didn't know was that Yagayu was not just talking casually. He looked at Kakashi's hasty escape, and his heart was interest. Sakura, what do you think about us really giving Kakashi a mission to find a wife? Huh, not good. Kakashi teacher didn't. Although Kakashi didn't agree, how could we, as his disciples, let Kakashi do whatever he wants? Kakashi is already 26 years old, and he will be 30 in a few years. 30 years old is middle-aged. If he lacked money, ability and looks, it would be fine, but he has money, looks and ability. Sakura, have you ever wondered why Kakashi doesn't fall in love? Why? Does Kakashi-sensei have someone he likes? Sakura's guess made Yagayu unconsciously think of Might Guy and Uchiha Obito. However, Kakashi and them should only have passion, not love. Yagayu shook his head and said, probably not. I think Kakashi has never been in a relationship or married because of his past life experience. He is too much of a homebody. House. It means he doesn't like going out and socializing. Do you think Kakashi has any other social activities besides training and doing missions with us? Sakura thought about it and it seemed to be true. Kakashi is too much of a homebody. So we have to help Kakashi find a blind date so that he can get in touch with more girls. Ice dog. Smart. Yagayu snapped his fingers, then looked at Sasuke and said, Sasuke, how about joining us? Boring. Sasuke glanced at him and said indifferently. The next day, Yagayu and the other two came to the Hokage building and found the third Hokage. What, you guys are going to find a wife for Kakashi? Sarutobi Hiruzen spat out the tea he was drinking. Ahem, why do you have such an idea? Teacher Kakashi has taught us so many things, we feel it is necessary to care about his life and not let him stay at home alone any longer. Sakura said. Homebody. Sarutobi Hiruzen also heard this word for the first time, and asked curiously. The meaning of a stay-at-home is someone who doesn't like to go out or socialize. How can a person not like to go out or socialize? Such a person will sooner or later get sick. For the mental health of Kakashi-sensei, we decided to help Kakashi-sensei find a good wife who will care about his life. Originally, Sarutobi Hiruzen only regarded the ideas of the three as nonsense, but when he heard the word mental health, he had other thoughts. Others don't understand Kakashi, but how could he not understand? In the beginning, he let Kakashi leave the Anbu for his mental health, so that he would have more ties and less darkness in Konoha. Now it seems that the original approach was indeed useful, otherwise Kakashi might have been taken away by Danzo at some point. Maybe it's a good idea to help Kakashi find a wife. Well, what you said makes sense. Kakashi is really old, and it would be a good thing for him to get married. How much money do you plan to spend to help him find a wife? Give me the money, and I will give you a task. 200,000. Good. 200,000. Sarutobi Hiruzen paused his writing hand and looked at the three people in shock. The highest reward for AD level mission is 10,000. C level is 50,000. B level is 150,000. Does that mean that the new team of Yagyu and his team will use the reward of an A-level mission to help Kakashi find love? Are all the genins so rich now? Team 7 has done a total of 10 D-level missions and 3 C-level missions, and has only earned a total of about 100,000 in rewards. Divided equally among 4 people, each person will earn less than 25,000. Now these teenagers are actually using 200,000 to help Kakashi find a blind date. Am I crazy, or is this world crazy? Yagyu, there's no need to spend so much money. This amount is enough to hire a Jonin to be your personal bodyguard for a month. It's okay, I have plenty of money. Quote. Now Yagyu is the young patriarch of the Moonlight Clan, and all the Moonlight Clan's assets belong to him. A mere 200,000 taels is no problem at all. Even if it is 1 million taels, 10 million taels, Yagyu can take it out. Of course, if he takes out 10 million taels for Kakashi's blind date, Moonlight Zemian will definitely be so angry that he will die on the spot. Yagyu didn't waste money for the sake of his own clan leader's life. In that case, let's do as you say. Any requirements for girls? Fair skin, good looks, between 18 and 30 years old, with strength above that of a special Jonin, that's all for now. Quote. There aren't many female ninjas like this in the entire Konoha. Yagyu, why don't you consider lowering the conditions? No need to change it, even if the conditions are lowered, they are still not worthy of Kakashi. Quote. Alright, just as Sarutobi Hiruzen was about to start writing, Yagyu said again, by the way, 3rd generation, this marriage proposal is open to the entire ninja world, not just to Konoha and the Land of Fire. This, Yagyu, only Konoha's ninjas can accept the mission. Even if ninjas from other ninja villages know about it, they can't take away the reward for the mission you issued in Konoha. Sarutobi Hiruzen looked embarrassed. He didn't want the elite Jonin of his village to marry a female Jonin from another ninja village. This would bring an unstable time bomb to Konoha. Who knows if the ninjas from various countries who come for blind dates are spies? Can I go to other ninja villages to issue missions? Yagyu asked curiously. Sarutobi Hiruzen looked at Yagyu with a strange look on his face. Of course you can, but you are now a ninja of Konoha. Although you are a genin, it is easy to be caught and interrogated as a spy if you go to those big ninja villages casually, unless you are sure to hide your identity and enter those big ninja villages. Well, forget it. Although Yagyu is not well known in the ninja world, his skills are not deceptive. If he rashly goes to other ninja villages and is recognized, it will be troublesome. Yagyu thinks that he has no problem dealing with most ninjas, and he can escape unscathed even when facing a cage-level strongman. But he is still not sure of defeating a cage-level strongman, and it is difficult to resist some unpredictable abilities. Yagyu feels that he still needs to hide before he becomes a hexagonal warrior. And traveling to various countries for Kakashi's love, Yagyu feels that he is not as idle as you. He is now helping Kakashi with love just on a whim, and to retaliate against Kakashi for meddling in his business. He actually asked me to give up Sakura, Ino, and Hinata. This person is very vicious. The next day, a female Jonin led a team to accept the mission. Sir, are there any A-level missions recently? Asked the female Jonin. Sarutobi Hiruzen raised his head and said, what type do you want? I want to do a mission that doesn't require combat. The team members are very tired recently, so it would be best if it were a garrison or investigation type mission. Sarutobi Hiruzen flipped through some files and finally took out 2 mission scrolls. Here is one for garrisoning the western border, and the other for. You can read it yourself. The female Jonin was a little curious. What kind of mission was it that made the respected Hokage so embarrassed to talk about it? So she didn't look at the first file, but opened the second one first. When she saw the content written on it, her face suddenly turned red. Lord Hokage, is this real? Yeah, Sarutobi Hiruzen smoked his pipe and nodded lightly. Then I will take on this task. Soon, the news that a female Jonin had taken on the mission reached Yagyu. An Anbu ninja handed a piece of information to Yagyu. Seeing the Anbu ninja coming, Sakura and Sasuke seemed even more excited than him. So what, has anyone accepted the mission? What's the name of this female Jonin? Is she pretty? Sasuke said nothing, but he stopped practicing and looked at it seriously, which showed that he cared. Yagyu threw the information to Sakura and said, "Take a look for yourself." He didn't care about Kakashi's love. He was just doing it for fun. He didn't care who Kakashi would be with or whether he would be with anyone. Fudo Shizuka, 24 years old, special Jonin, good at wind escape, completed 1S level mission and 15A level missions. His father is Fudo Ryuiki, 48 years old, a Chunin. Her mother is Hanano Hongli, 45 years old, a Chunin. This information is really detailed, including information about 3 generations of ancestors. This girl seems to like Kakashi-sensei very much. Sakura murmured. Sasuke nodded imperceptibly. I think this girl is pretty good, let's find a time for them to meet. But Kakashi doesn't know we're arranging a blind date for him, will he go? Sakura asked doubtfully. If he doesn't go, we can trick him into going there. Yagyu smiled, as if thinking of some evil plan. Cafe, I'm talking to you guys. Is there something important that you summoned me here for today instead of training? When there is no mission, Team 7 gathers together to practice almost every day. But with Kakashi's personality, he won't always be there, so this summoning happened. Yagyu didn't answer, but took a look at the coffee and snacks on the table. As always, Kakashi didn't have the habit of taking off his mask to eat in front of outsiders. The coffee and snacks ordered by Yagyu and the others just lay on the table and got cold. He picked up the coffee and took a sip. It was a bit bitter. He picked up another piece of dessert and took a bite. It was a bit sweet. Seeing that Yagyu didn't speak, Kakashi looked at Sakura and Sasuke again. Sakura hesitated to speak, and Sasuke had an indifferent look on his face, but there was a hint of gloating in this indifference. This made Kakashi feel uneasy. Sakura, you tell me. Ah, that is. Yagyu didn't let her say it, because he thought Kakashi would definitely run away if he knew she was here for a blind date. So he had to keep it a secret from him for now. Sakura held it in for a long time, then said, "You'll know in a while, Kakashi-sensei." Seeing that none of the 3 said anything, Kakashi could only wait in boredom. After a while, a beautiful woman in a purple dress walked in. She scanned the coffee shop, then found where Kakashi and the others were, and greeted them happily. "Kakashi-senpai, who are you?" Looking at the woman trotting over happily, Kakashi couldn't remember her name for a moment, and it was only when she said it that he remembered. "I am Shizuka, Kakashi-senpai, Fudo Shizuka." "Shizuka, oh, it's you. Why are you here?" Before Kakashi could finish, the 3 Yagyu suddenly stood up and left. "Come on, Kakashi, quote. Teacher Kakashi, this is the blind date we found for you, please don't let us down. Quote. Even Sasuke gave him an encouraging look, which made Kakashi confused. How come he suddenly had a blind date? Suddenly, he thought of what Yagyu said to him a few days ago. At that time, he seemed to have asked him to keep himself clean and not be promiscuous. Then Yagyu said he would introduce him to a blind date. Could it be that? Why is my subordinate so vengeful? Kakashi sighed helplessly and looked at Fudo Shizuka, who was sitting opposite him. After hesitating for a moment, he said, "Well, Shizuka, I don't have any plans to get married at the moment. It doesn't matter, we can get in touch first, and I can wait for you to get married or something like that." Fukami Shizuka smiled slightly, and the 2 dimples on her face were quite cute, which made Kakashi absent-minded. After a long while, Kakashi came back to his senses, put his hand on his forehead, and said with a sad face, "What a trouble." In order not to hurt Shizuka's feelings, Kakashi stayed with her for the whole afternoon. In the process, he also learned the whole story. It turned out that without his knowledge, his 3 beloved subordinates actually spent 200,000 taels to find him a wife. What's more, the 3rd generation actually issued the task without his consent. Alas, 3 generations. These 3 guys are really annoying. He still rejected Shizuka's pursuit, and rejected it again because he had no intention of getting married, and threw Yagyu and the others out to explain, which was a regretful ending. Before leaving, Fengdao Shizuka looked at him reluctantly, and the purple skirt fluttered in the wind, which was very charming. But, he has no feeling. I have to go to the Hokage building and ask the Hokage to withdraw the mission. If someone comes to me for a blind date every day, I will be in trouble. Kakashi muttered and was about to leave, but he saw his two old friends, Yuhi Kurenai and Hongdu. Hey, isn't this Kakashi? I heard that you spent 200,000 taels to find a wife in the Hokage building. I didn't expect you to be so aloof. In fact, you really want a woman. Ha 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 ha. Hongdu teased Kakashi loudly while eating red bean balls, making Kakashi very embarrassed. Hey, honestly, would you consider me? How many meatballs can you buy with 200,000 taels? Hee hee hee. If it was something else, Kakashi would not bother to explain. But when it came to his own innocence, he couldn't help but explain it, otherwise he would lose face in the Jonin circle. Kakashi explained what Yagayu and the others had done again, and the two of them were stunned and looked incredulous. No, Kakashi, you don't have to make such an outrageous excuse, right? 3 genin took out 200,000 to help you find a wife. Mitarashi Anko looked skeptical, and Yuhi Kurenai also didn't believe it. Yes, Kakashi, your 3 subordinates are just genin, right? They are graduates of this year, how could they possibly come up with 200,000 ryo to help you find a wife? Besides, it is not shameful for a 26-year-old man to find a wife, there is no need to find someone to take the blame. Kakashi's face darkened, he knew it was not so easy to explain this matter clearly. Helplessly, he could only brag about Yagayu. What a top student of the new graduation class, who mastered the nature changes of 2 types of chakra, had the strength of a Jonin before graduation, and was the young patriarch of the Moonlight clan who controlled the finances of the entire family, etc. The 2 girls, who didn't believe it in the first place, became even more unconvinced after hearing it. How could there be such a genius in the world? If he was a Jonin at the age of 12, then wouldn't it be rubbish for me, who was defined as a genius since childhood, to be a special Jonin in my 20s? Kakashi, what you said is too fake, isn't it? You can't even tell a lie. If there really is such a genius, how could he still be a genin and work under you? Anko complained. Kakashi looked helpless and explained, originally, Hokage planned to let Yagayu join the Anbu as soon as he graduated, but Yagayu refused. Although Yagayu has the strength of a Jonin, he has never done a mission. Considering his lack of experience, Hokage asked him to follow me for a year of training. It is estimated that he will be promoted to Jonin and lead a team alone next year at the latest. Becoming a Jonin 1 year after graduation. This is even more exaggerated than Kakashi back then. Kakashi graduated at the age of 5, a Chunin at the age of 6, and a Jonin at the age of 12. He seems to be a genius like Yagayu, but Kakashi has graduated for 7 years and has been on missions in the ninja world for 7 years. This is the result of 7 years of experience. Hey, Hong, I'm suddenly interested in this kid, do you want to go see him? Hongdu pushed Hong's arm with her elbow and said jokingly. Hong thought for a moment and said, I've heard my subordinates mention that Yagayu is a genius before, but I didn't expect him to be so amazing. But although I'm very curious, it doesn't seem good to disturb him rashly, right? Just out of curiosity, I go looking for someone. Yuhi Kurenai feels that she has to look for someone every day. There are too many people in this world who deserve her attention. But Hongdu said indifferently, what does it matter? With our relationship with Kakashi, I don't think he will have any objection. And the most important thing is that this guy is too rich. 200,000 taels. He is so rich, he surely wouldn't mind treating us 2 seniors to some meatballs, right? Shihi Kurenai didn't know whether to laugh or cry. You are a Jonin, how can you not even have money to buy meatballs? Stop, it's a special Jonin, not a Jonin. Mitarashi Anko declared seriously, I usually do most of the B-level tasks, and a task takes 10 days or half a month to complete. I usually take a break for half a month after completing a task. I earn half a month's money and spend half a month. Now it's the end of the month, and I don't have much money. For my meatballs, I must rob the rich and give to the poor today. Yuhi Hong looked helpless. There was no family behind Mitarashi Anko, nor any master, apprentice, brothers or sisters. There were only a few subordinates and friends who were not very familiar with her. She had no background and spent whatever she earned, and she didn't have a penny in savings. Such a life couldn't be said to be good, but it couldn't be said to be bad either. At most, she had no hope for the future. She lived one day at a time and muddled along. She had advised Anko before, but Anko said that she had no children and no elders, so what was the point of saving money? If you have money today, spend it today, and if you have no money tomorrow, worry about it tomorrow. Just be happy. She never advised again. Everyone has their own life, and she respects Anko. Moreover, Anko's skills came from Orochimaru, who was once one of the 3 ninjas. She was not worried that Anko would starve to death one day. At most, she was worried that she would be seriously injured in the mission and owe the hospital a debt. Let's go and have a look, just in time to verify whether Kakashi is lying or not. Yuhi Kurenai glanced at Kakashi and smiled. In fact, based on their understanding of Kakashi, the other party would not lie. He just said this deliberately to tease this aloof genius Jonin. Although they are both Jonin and friends, Kakashi has an ordinary relationship with them except for his close relationship with Might Guy, and can even be considered aloof. Kakashi, who was teased, spread his hands helplessly, pointed to the east and said, "They are most likely in the training ground now, you can go there to find them. I'll leave first, I have to ask the Hokage to cancel this mission." After saying that, Kakashi disappeared in an instant. Now Kurenai and Anko both knew about his mission to find a wife. Judging from the tip of the iceberg, the entire Konoha high-level officials might know about this. He had to stop it before everyone knew about it. He didn't want to become famous for this kind of thing. Kurenai and Anko smiled at each other and walked towards the number 7 training ground. However, Kakashi guessed wrong about the movements of Yagayu and the others. Yagayu and the others were not at the number 7 training ground, but were in Konoha Park to discuss Kakashi's blind date. Senior Shizuka is so pretty and powerful, but Kakashi refused her. Sakura sat on the bench, supporting her round face with both hands, and said a little unfairly, "Do you think Kakashi doesn't like women?" Yagayu and Sasuke looked at each other, and felt an inexplicable chill in their hearts. It shouldn't be. Yagayu remembered that Kakashi seemed to have had a vague relationship with a spy from another village when he was young. The two even kissed each other, but in the end they didn't get together because of their different positions. Could it be that Kakashi was missing that girl? It's a pity that Yagayu forgot the girl's name, nor did he remember which village the girl was a spy from, otherwise he would have to strengthen Kakashi. However, this incident should be regarded as revenge on Kakashi, and he won't hold on to this matter anymore. Although the 3rd generation wanted to find a partner for Kakashi to strengthen his ties with Konoha, if Kakashi personally came to refuse this matter, he would not force Kakashi. The blind date is probably over. Besides, Yagayu still has to find Kakashi to learn summoning, so he can't offend Kakashi to death. Chapter 51. The next day. You want to learn psychic arts from me? Yes, Kakashi-sensei, you can, right? Yes, but... Kakashi scratched his face, as if thinking about something. However, it was rare for the 3 of them to ask him for something, so he couldn't refuse. Okay, today I will teach you the art of spiritualism. However, to practice spiritualism, you must first have a spiritual beast. Do you have one? The 3 of them shook their heads. In this case, I can only teach you to train a spirit beast first. Cultivate. Even though Sakura is a top student, she knows nothing about these secret techniques. Kakashi sat cross-legged and said slowly, "The difference between summoned beasts and ordinary wild beasts is that summoned beasts have chakra and are more psychic. Some of the best ones can even use ninjutsu. There are 2 ways to own a summoned beast. One is to find a wild summoned beast, and the other is to cultivate it." "Is it like the Inuzuka family?" Sakura asked. Kakashi shook his head and said, "Strictly speaking, the Inuzuka family's summoned beasts are not cultivated by themselves. The earliest summoned beasts of their family were also wild, but later they became domesticated over time. It's like a wolf turning into a dog, the same principle." "So Mr. Kakashi, what you mean is that you can train ordinary wild beasts into summoning beasts?" "Well, I also learned from the experience of the Aburame clan to create this method." Aburame clan. Sakura thought of the boy who wore sunglasses all day and didn't like to talk. There was a member of the Aburame clan in our class before, named Aburame Shino. "Mr. Kakashi, do the Aburame clan also have summoning beasts?" "Yes, the summoned beasts of the Aburame clan are bugs. They control them by supplying chakra to the bugs, labeling them as themselves." "Bugs." Sakura's mind automatically imagined a bunch of scary creatures, and she couldn't help but shudder. The Aburame clan's method tells us that any creature can store chakra in its body, but some creatures do not have chakra themselves, so we can provide them with our own chakra. As time changes, the bodies of ordinary creatures are transformed and will begin to produce chakra naturally, and we ninjas can connect with them through blood contracts, and use psychic summoning when needed in the future. Of course, not all common creatures can be successfully cultivated, so you need to keep trying. For example, I chose a dog that is relatively smart and friendly as a spiritual beast. Kai chose a turtle. Yagayu originally wanted to learn from Might Guy's method, but now it seems that it is no longer necessary. Might Guy's method of training summoned beasts was probably taught to him by Kakashi. Might Guy also taught Kakashi the 8 gates of the ninjutsu. The two are really good friends. First of all, you choose your favorite animal first, and then I will teach you how to train it. After the theory, the next step is practice. The three of Lu Sheng went to find their favorite spirit beasts and agreed to meet again in 3 days. What creature should I choose as my spirit beast? Can test poison, can withstand beatings, can detect. There are not many animals that combine the above advantages. As Lu Sheng thought about it, he came to a pet shop and walked in without hesitation. Welcome, what kind of pet would you like to buy? The store manager was a sweet-looking girl, wearing a white gauze skirt and long hair. Even Lu Sheng, who had seen many beauties, was somewhat impressed. You are so beautiful, Lu Sheng praised sincerely. Yun Zhang Yaya smiled sweetly, thank you. Do you have any poison-resistant animals here? Preferably smart ones. Anti-venom. Smart, sir, we do not accept customers who abuse pets. I don't buy pets. As you can see, I'm a ninja. So I want to buy a summoning beast with this characteristic. Yagayu pointed to the forehead protector on his head and said, summoning beasts. Yaya looked at Lu Sheng with a strange expression, as if asking why someone would come to a pet store to buy a summoning beast. Lu Sheng saw Yaya's confusion and said, nonsense, I am a summoning beast trainer. After my training, ordinary animals can also become summoning beasts to help ninjas fight. Yaya was skeptical, but seeing Lu Sheng's serious look, she had to believe it. After all, the forehead protector on Lu Sheng's forehead could not be fake. Sorry, I don't have that kind of animal for sale. But I can tell you where to find it, and you can go find it yourself. Where? The land of grass. There is a grassland in the land of grass. On that grassland there is an animal that is extremely resistant to poison, the opossum. This creature is very omnivorous. It basically eats anything it can find, even poisonous things. And most importantly, the opossum is very intelligent and has the special ability to seek benefits and avoid harm. If you ever plan on going to the Grass Kingdom, I can take you to look for possums. What are your conditions? Yagayu doesn't believe in helping someone for no reason, even if he looks very handsome. I need you to protect me over there, my family is over there, I don't dare to go back alone. Yaya said in a low voice. Lu Sheng was stunned and asked, then you never went back before? I used to ask Konoha's ninja to escort me there, but it's too expensive to go back and forth. You know I'm just a pet shop owner and I don't make much money a year. Maybe I can only go home once a year. Yagayu was skeptical, but didn't ask any more questions. He had to go anyway, so it didn't matter if he took Yaya with him because she helped him. The next day, Yagayu asked Kakashi for 3 days leave and set off for the land of grass with Yaya. Sakura and Sasuke seemed to be busy looking for suitable summoning beasts, so Yagayu was the only one who left the village this time. On the way, Yaya didn't expect that Yagayu dared to leave the village alone, and asked curiously, are you a Jonin? In her impression, only those powerful ninjas can leave the land of fire alone. After all, if you leave the land of fire, not many people will respect your identity as a Konoha ninja. They can even kill a ninja who is not from this village at will. The reason is that they suspect you are a spy. This ninja world is full of dangers. I am a genin, Yagayu replied. Genin. Yaya looked at Yagayu deeply, as if hesitating about something, but still didn't say anything and continued to hurry on his way. Yagayu naturally knew what Yaya was thinking, nothing more than worrying about his own safety. But he didn't explain. Although Yaya was helpful to him, it didn't mean that he needed to show off his abilities to express himself. What Yaya told him was a piece of cake. Similarly, it was also a piece of cake for him to take Yaya back to Kusagakur for free. No one owed anyone anything. It was just a cheap deal. Half a day later, they had barely finished half the journey. At this time, they were not far from the border of the Land of Fire. But Yaya had the body of an ordinary person after all, and several hours of long journey had made him tired and breathless. Seeing this, Yagayu could only postpone his journey and take a rest. I'm going to get some game, you wait here. Hey, I'll go with you. Yaya was a little uneasy, obviously she didn't dare to stay alone in this strange environment. Lu Sheng glanced at Yaya, and with his hands, he summoned a shadow clone. I'm going hunting, you can't keep up. Until then, my shadow clone will accompany you. Shadow clone. Yaya showed surprise for the first time. Although she was not a ninja, she knew many ninjas. So she knew clearly that high-level ninjutsu like shadow clone was not something that ordinary ninjas could learn. Are you really a genin? Yaya's question was not heard by Lu Sheng, as he had gone far away. As for his shadow clone, he looked aloof and kept strangers away. Yaya could only sit aside and fiddle with a small wooden stick, waiting obediently. In the jungle, Lu Sheng kept moving between the branches to find traces of wild animals. In fact, they brought dry food and were not short of food. But there were game to eat, so why eat tasteless dry food? It was not an urgent ninja mission. Lu Sheng regarded this journey as a trip, so naturally he did not want to wrong himself. Whoosh! A sound from the bush attracted Lu Sheng's attention, and a shuriken quickly flew out of his hand. Ah! Don't kill me! Don't kill me! Please don't kill me! Yagayu pulled aside the bushes and saw a panicked and embarrassed little beggar. He was immediately disappointed. He looked at him carefully and made sure that the shuriken he had thrown just now only scratched his clothes. He threw down a piece of money and turned away. The little beggar was stunned for a moment when he saw that Yagayu didn't kill him, and then his eyes fell on the money, his eyes shining. He walked forward carefully, and after making sure it was not a trap, he picked up the money and put it in his pocket. That man was also wearing a forehead protector like that. He must have come to kill me, right? But he didn't recognize me. The little beggar was a little unsure. He had been away from that village for a long time, living in the open air every day. Thinking of those people who killed people without blinking an eye, he couldn't help but tremble. His father, his mother, his sister, all his family members, relatives, village chiefs, and neighbors died that night. If he hadn't realized something was wrong and hid in the toilet, he would have been killed. With a little curiosity and a little fear, the little beggar hesitated for a moment and quietly chased after Lu Sheng. I'm back. Yagayu held 2 big rabbits and a small rabbit in his hands. The poor rabbit family encountered the evil Uchiha. The whole team was wiped out. You want to eat rabbits? Yaya looked incredulous, as if she was looking at an alien. And Lu Sheng seemed like a cold-blooded person, nodding expressionlessly. Otherwise, how about catching some to replenish your supply? Yaya blushed. The pets I sell are all domesticated, not wild ones. Oh, quote. Yaya was a little confused by Lu Sheng's indifference. He had praised her for being beautiful before, but now he seemed to be so unapproachable to women. Rabbits are so cute, can we please not eat them? Yagayu looked at her as if she was crazy and refused, no. If all the cute things in the world were not edible, then the world would lack a lot of delicious food. And from the fact that food developers are keen on making some foods look cute to attract girls, it can be seen that these girls do not refuse to eat them just because they are cute. After all, they are both food. Why is it that soft candies are eaten because they are cute, but rabbits are not eaten because they are cute? Of course, it should not be because of life. After all, the heart-shaped fried eggs and the meat snack gift packs packaged with cute rabbits also had life before. So if appreciation of cuteness and compassion for life are not the reasons why these girls refuse to use rabbits, then what is the reason for their refusal to use them? Yagayu doesn't know either. I know, but when he saw Yaya take out the dry food and start to eat it, he understood. Maybe she is not hungry enough. Then why should I, who is not hungry either, eat cute rabbits? No mercy. Or what? She must want to eat meat. Yagayu defined his behavior of eating rabbits. Soon, The cute rabbits turned into 3 roasted golden rabbits. Sprinkle them with barbecue sauce from the Konoha barbecue restaurant, and the smell comes up immediately. The tangy aroma makes Yaya on the side very tormented. She is chewing the dry food in her hand at this moment, and her eyes are stealing glances at the 3 roasted rabbits from time to time. When she noticed Yagayu looking at her, she immediately showed a hateful look, as if Yagayu killed her father. Eat something. Lu Sheng handed the roasted rabbit to Yaya. I don't want to eat it. If you want to eat it yourself. Yi Sheng was not polite. He tore off a rabbit leg and started eating, looking at Yaya with gnashing teeth. At this time, there was a sudden movement in the bushes beside him. Russell, who? Yaya got up in a panic, holding a kunai in her hand. Yagayu glanced at the kunai in Yaya's hand, and then continued to eat with a calm face. He was not panicked at all about the movement in the bushes, because he had already discovered that there was someone hiding in the bushes. And this person was none other than the little beggar who was almost injured by him. Sure enough, a ragged boy walked out of the bushes. He had a coin in his hand, and said with a silly smile, don't do it, I'm here to return something. Return something? Yaya looked puzzled. She didn't know the little beggar, which meant that this person came to return something to Lu Sheng. Could it be that Lu Sheng had lost something when he went out hunting? The money is for you, you don't have to pay it back. After biting off a piece of rabbit meat, Lu Sheng said lightly, your purpose is not to pay back the money, right? If you have something to say, just say it directly. I don't like to be long-winded. Although Lu Sheng did nothing, an invisible aura pressed the little beggar to be a little afraid. Are you the ninja of Konoha? Have you heard? Shinjuku village. I haven't heard of it. Lu Sheng said calmly. The little beggar looked at Lu Sheng's calm face and knew that he was not lying. Of course, it might be that the other party's facial expression was too well controlled, and he couldn't tell it easily. The little beggar's face showed a struggle, but he finally made up his mind to speak out. Mr. Ninja, Shinjuku village is a village that was massacred by Konoha ninja. Oh, the little beggar said angrily, does the life of a village mean so little to the ninjas of Konoha? Yagayu looked puzzled. I didn't kill them, so why should I care? You. The little beggar was furious. He wanted to find a word to refute, but found that he didn't know where to refute. It's like saying that someone in Shinjuku village peeked at a widow bathing and was spurned by people from other villages. Should he be ashamed of this? It's not me who saw it. He was a little angry, but not angry at Yagayu. He was angry at those Konoha ninjas who killed his family members for no reason. After calming down, he suddenly realized that he actually spoke rudely to a powerful ninja. What happened to me just now? Did I want to die? Tolerate. Ninja master. Seeing the little beggar's voice suddenly tremble, Lu Sheng felt puzzled. He was cautious, rude, and timid. What a psycho. If you have nothing else, leave and take the money with you. It's for you. That, Ninja-sama, I think. You don't want to. Before the little beggar could finish, Yagayu interrupted him, you don't have to expect me to help you find out the truth. You and I are not related, and I will not help you get revenge. I am not the kind of person with an overflowing sense of justice. Understand? The little beggar didn't expect that Yagayu would guess his thoughts without him saying anything. He saw that Yagayu was a Konoha ninja, and he was not as cruel as those ninjas who massacred his village. He thought about whether he could get close to him and get his sympathy. But it seemed that Yagayu was not what he thought, and the atmosphere suddenly became awkward. This world has never been just. Yoyoshi stood up and put a roasted rabbit in his hand. It will never be bright, live well. If you want revenge, then go get the power and find out the truth yourself. But I don't know ninjutsu, how can I be a match for those ninjas? The little beggar took the roasted rabbit subconsciously, but did not eat a single bite. Then don't think about revenge. Life is short. You are just an ordinary person. Don't let hatred waste the rest of your life. Yo-Yo patted the little beggar's shoulder, called Yaya and left. You haven't finished your roast rabbit yet. Leave it for him. He looks like he hasn't eaten for a long time. Then what do you eat? Just take a Bingliong pill. Is that thing delicious? It's as good as your dry food. Then you still eat. You can't stay hungry, right? The little beggar watched the two people go away, holding the roasted rabbit in his hand for a long time without moving. I don't know how much time has passed, when the sun is about to set, he cried. He saw that the dazzling sun will also set, and the bright sky will also dim, not to mention a forest, a leaf, an ordinary person like him. He has always known that he is ordinary and can't do anything about many things. But he has never formally faced his ordinariness. But just now, he formally faced his weakness and incompetence, and was destined to be like this forever, and he cried. Crying like a 90-pound child. Tears flowed uncontrollably from his eyes. He choked and took a bite of the roasted rabbit. It was cold, but it didn't affect its taste. The taste of the roasted rabbit and the salty tears were swallowed into his stomach together, as if he wanted to swallow all the pain. His past, his future, his dream. He swallowed everything. In this life, he could only live in misery. Hey, let me tell you. Do you really think this world is unjust? Lu Sheng glanced at her and said calmly, strong is justice. Absurdity. Yaya curled her lips and snorted coldly, obviously disagreeing with this point of view. The land of grass, the hidden grass village. This village is only at the bottom of the ninja world, but it has also produced many famous ninjas. Nagato's hungry ghost, the lord of the ghost lantern city, Wu Wei. Longshi, and the mother and daughter of Karen from the Uzumaki clan. I think Karen's mother is dead now. Yagayu thought so. You wait here for me, I'm going to buy an orange. Quote. Lu Sheng pulled Yaya, who was going to buy oranges, and said, I'll go. It's rare that you have such a gentlemanly side. Yaya looked surprised. Lu Sheng rolled his eyes. If it weren't for his father's dispute, who would be willing to buy oranges? Boss, how much are the oranges? 50 taels per pound. Lu Sheng frowned. It's too expensive. Too expensive. Where is it expensive? The oranges in our Kusagakur village have always been priced this high. It is very difficult for us to sell oranges. Sometimes you should look for your own problems. Have you done your tasks seriously? Have you worked hard? Quote. I won't buy it. Yagayu turned around and left. He was rich, not stupid. What surprised him was that the other party dared to ask for such a high price even though he knew he was a ninja. It seemed that he had a strong backing. Where are your oranges? Yaya teased, as if she knew he would be embarrassed. Did you know he would kill me? You guess. Are you a kid? Still guessing. Yagayu was speechless. Seeing this, Yaya stopped teasing Yagyu and explained, the vendors here are not like those in Konoha. How should I put it? They prefer to overcharge new customers. If you buy too much, they won't overcharge you. Yagayu rolled his eyes. I don't trust you. This time it was Yaya's turn to buy. The vendor really gave a very favorable price when he saw that he was an acquaintance. 5 taels per caddy. The price was 10 times cheaper. Seeing this, Yagyu just wanted to smash his stall. Yoshi was thinking viciously, when he suddenly saw Yaya calmly handing a scroll to the fruit shop owner. This abnormal behavior is not what an ordinary pet shop owner would do. It seems that this seemingly kind and nostalgic woman is not as simple as she seems. If I remember correctly, Kusagakur seems to be a ninja village that operates information exchange. Any ninja village and anyone can come here to buy and sell information. Could this girl be here to sell information? Or, is she a spy? Yagayu didn't know, and he didn't intend to find out. He knew very well the future of Konoha, and 1 or 2 spies couldn't affect anything. And he didn't need to do anything for Konoha other than the mission. Let's go. Yaya came back with oranges, as if nothing had happened, and smiled sweetly. Lu Sheng also pretended not to see anything and nodded lightly. After the two of them arrived at Yaya's door, Lu Sheng proposed to find the opossum first. Although he still wanted to take Yaya back, because Yaya had to stay at home for a few days. Lu Sheng did not want to waste this time. After confirming the appearance of the opossum, he planned to go on the road alone. And finding a little thing is not a simple matter, it may take a day or 2 to find it. Why are you so anxious? I told you I would take you to find it. Yaya said dissatisfiedly. If I take you to look for it, how long will it take to find it? I don't know either. It depends on luck. Yaya thought for a moment and said. In fact, she was not familiar with opossums, but she knew a little about them because of her work. I'd better go first. Don't worry, I won't leave you here. I'll pick you up when I find you. After saying that, Lu Sheng disappeared from the spot without giving Yaya a chance to continue persuading him. Yaya looked depressed, and she kept what she wanted to say to herself. How are you going to find it without me leading the way? Yaya thought viciously. The grassland of the land of grass is more like a piece of green grass than a grassland. It only took Yagayu half an hour to walk from the southernmost end of the grassland to the northernmost end. It was faster than him walking from the Hokage building to the Moonlight Clan. It's not easy to find a mouse in such a place. Yagayu shook his head and opened his Sharingan. His Sharingan at this time was only 2 Magatama, but its ability was much stronger than the ordinary 2 Magatama Sharingan. Not only was the strength of the illusion 10,000 times that of the ordinary Sharingan, but the observation and copying abilities were also 10,000 times that of the ordinary Sharingan. Sasuke with 2 Magatama could only copy some low-level physical skills, but Yagayu could directly copy S-level ninjutsu. No matter what kind of ninjutsu the opponent used, Yagayu could directly copy it and use it himself. However, this copy also has a disadvantage, that is, if Yagayu is not sensitive to chakra of a certain attribute, then he cannot use the chakra of that attribute that he copied. That is, the talent is not obvious. For example, the Yang attribute chakra ninjutsu of the Akamichi clan, some earth escape ninjutsu that Kakashi is good at, and the wood escape of Senju Hashirama. In addition, because the conditions for summoning are different, even if Sasuke can copy its form, he cannot perform it. After all, he doesn't have a summoning beast. The small grassland became invisible under the penetration of Yagayu Sharingan, and all the movements of the entire grassland were presented in his eyes. A group of passing bison lowered their heads to eat grass, and their tails kept shaking. They seemed to be eating happily. Several wild wolves were wandering not far away. The smaller ones seemed to be discussing how to cooperate to kill a lone stupid cow. On a piece of grass, there was also a unique tree. This tree is the only building on this grassland. On it lies a superior of this grassland, a group of lions. Unlike the group of hungry wolves, the lions seemed to be full and were not interested in the coming bison. Cow, wolf, lion, snake, rabbit, ant, mouse. After discovering a mouse, Lu Sheng appeared beside it in an instant and caught it. Pointed mouth, ears without hair, as if transparent, tail like a whip, pink nose, 5 toes, but why is it so big? The appearance characteristics are similar, but there is something wrong with the size of this mouse. How can such a large body survive in this grassland? Squeak. The captured rat was very angry and kept twisting its body, even trying to bite Lu Sheng's hand with its teeth. But Lu Sheng just exerted a little force and it became obedient. The feeling of suffocation made the rat dare not move. Forget it, let's catch them first. Experimental mice, 1 or 2 opossums may not be able to successfully cultivate a summoned beast. If summoned beasts can be cultivated casually, then Kakashi's Parker would not be so special. Similarly, Might Guy would not have only a few weak little turtles. In one afternoon, Yagayu caught about 3 opossums. Bringing them back to the inn at night, Yagayu took out the bottles of prepared poison and looked at the 3 mice with an evil smile. Jehi, time for dinner, rats. Squeak _ Squeak ***. Squeak circle.operator O circle.operator. After 3 rats ate the poisoned rice prepared by Yagayu, 2 survived. 1 died on the spot. Apparently, a rat was pretending to be a possum. Yagayu carefully threw the poisoned rat into the trash can, with a look of regret on his face. You should have had a good life as a rat, why did you pretend to be someone else? Where is the face of the other rat? If the rat could speak, he would definitely make an excuse. You clearly recognized the wrong mouse. After trying many kinds of poisons, the other mouse also died. It seems that each opossum has a different resistance to poison. Yagayu looked at the only remaining mouse and did not intend to end the poison test. Maybe this mouse's resistance to poison is not good enough. So Yagayu went to Kusagakure village and bought all kinds of poisons that can be bought there, including those that kill mice, humans, insects, and weeds, and gave them to the mouse. As expected, it also died. The so-called immunity to all poisons seems to be a joke. Is it possible that there have never been any opossums in the world? Yi Sheng came to Yaya's house with doubts and knocked on her door. When Yaya heard that he fed poison to the opossums every day, she almost laughed to death. Quote, "Brother, I am resistant to poison, but I am not immune to all poisons. And I don't like to eat poison. If you feed me poison every day, I will die. It turns out that the appetite is acting up. Rats that cannot eat normal food are like humans who have lost their spiritual sustenance and have lost hope in life. It just wants to eat something normal. What's wrong with it? After learning from Yaya, Yagayu went to catch 3 more rats. This time, Yagayu no longer fed them poison every day, but gave them a meal of poison occasionally. This went on for a week, and finally 2 rats survived. After deciding on the choice of summoning beasts, Yagayu packed the 2 rats into cages and took Yaya back to Konoha. The journey, which was originally scheduled for 3 days, ended up taking more than 10 days. Yagayu was preparing to train his own summoning beast in one go, but Kakashi told him that he had to go on a mission. It is incredible for a rookie team to have no missions for 2 consecutive weeks. We are going to take a C rank mission today. We can talk slowly on the way about the training of summoned beasts, Kakashi said. In fact, Sakura had already learned about the training of summoned beasts in advance. She chose a cat as her summoned beast because it was very common, so she didn't spend much time on it. Sasuke, like him, spent a lot of time looking for summoned beasts. The summoned beast he chose was an eagle, which he caught using the illusion of the Sharingan. It is not obedient yet. After knowing the summoned beasts of Sasuke and Sakura, Yagayu began to question the appearance of his own summoned beast. Is his summoned beast a little too ugly? Yagayu felt that using a mouse as his representative summoned beast really affected his image. Of course, it would not matter if it was a cute little mouse. But it happened to be this kind of large and ugly mouse. Since we are all training summoned beasts, why not train more types? Yagayu clapped his hands and decided to eliminate Rat. Poor Rat not only had to be tested for poison, but also had to be disliked by the summoner. In the Hokage building, Kakashi took them to find the 3rd Hokage to accept a new mission. It was still a C-level mission. This time their mission was to escort an old man back to the Land of Waves and protect him until the bridge was completed. That's right, it was the drunkard old man Dazna who was hunted by the billionaire Cardo. This mission was originally the first C-level mission to be done by Team 7. Unexpectedly, the protagonist was replaced, and the mission still fell on their heads. When he first met this old man, Yagayu smelled a strong smell of alcohol. His staggering and stumbling appearance made people worry that he would fall at any time. Fortunately, unlike the originally talkative Dazna, it seemed that because of the absence of Naruto, this old man did not say anything sarcastic. And because Sasuke and Yagayu looked like they were not easy to mess with, Dazna also showed a satisfied look. Very good, it's them, let them protect me. Hearing Dazna's satisfied words, Sarutobi Hiruzen also smiled. As long as you are satisfied, let them take charge of the task of protecting you this time. A C-level mission is not a very valuable mission, but Dazna coming to Konoha to issue missions means opening up the market of Wave Country. As long as this mission is completed perfectly, Dazna will promote it in Wave Country, then won't Konoha receive more commissions from Wave Country in the future? When Wave Country receives more commissions in Konoha, the daimyo of Wave Country may be willing to establish diplomatic relations with Konoha, and it is said that Wave Country does not have its own ninja organization, maybe they need the protection of Konoha's ninja. Sarutobi Hiruzen thought happily. At the entrance of the village, Team 7 was ready to set off. Dazna was still drinking. Kakashi, if this guy falls to death on the road because of drunkenness, does that mean our mission has failed? Yagayu's cold tone made Dazna feel the wine in his mouth was icy cold. Kakashi was embarrassed to see that his client was frightened, and pulled Yagayu to apologize to Dazna. Sorry, I'm a newbie and haven't done many missions. I hope you don't mind if I speak without restraint. Seeing the senior ninja in front of him supporting him, Dazna couldn't bear his temper and was about to scold Yagayu. But when he met Yagayu's eyes, the icy feeling became stronger. He realized that it was not the wine that was cold, but the blood in his body. Why did a 12-year-old child have the feeling of looking directly at a dangerous beast? It's okay. Dazna took a sip of wine to calm down, and the accusations in his mind just now disappeared. Kakashi also knew that Dazna had not really let go of his grudge. It was his dangerous disciple who put too much pressure on him. Thinking of the explanation given by the third generation to him, Kakashi sighed helplessly. The third generation hoped that this mission could open up the market of Wave Country. If it left a bad impression on the employer, wouldn't it all be ruined? In the past, when doing missions, they taught Yagyu and others some precautions for threats, or how to complete various tasks quickly, but they forgot to teach them to respect their employers. How can a bodyguard threaten the sponsor? He looked at Yagyu and Sasuke helplessly. Sakura is easy to teach, but these two may be difficult to teach. It is simply impossible to let these two bad-tempered guys please the sponsor. There is no way to make Yagyu apologize. Kakashi can only take Yagyu and the others to continue on the road. Try to leave other good impressions on Dasna during the mission, such as ability. A ninja team with 3 Jonin and above and 1 Chunin will protect at least 1 month. Not to mention the 60,000 Ryo offered by Dasna, even 600,000 Ryo is not enough. Kakashi made up his mind that even if the leader of the Axe Gang came with thousands of brothers to chop Dasna down during this month, he would protect him. They walked in silence on the path leaving Konoha and heading to the land of waves, surrounded by dense jungle. The sun was shining brightly at this time, but there was a puddle of water on the ground ahead, as if there were traces left by a rainy night yesterday. But if someone with keen observation skills looked carefully, they would find that there was something wrong with this puddle. It had not rained in recent days, and there was no water source nearby, and there was only a puddle of water here on the 1,000-meter-long road. It was not right no matter how you thought about it. Kakashi stepped over the puddle as if he didn't notice it, and then Sasuke stepped over it. Sasuke did not ignore the puddle, and glanced at the puddle vaguely, then glanced at Kakashi and Yagyu, and seeing that the two did not move, he did not move either. Dasna saw that the puddle had passed by inexplicably, and he did not want to dirty his few pairs of clean shoes. Sakura stepped over next. She really didn't notice anything. She stepped heavily, causing quite a splash of water. Yagyu, who was in charge of the rear, turned a deaf ear and stepped over as if he didn't see anything. As a time traveler, of course he knew that there were 2 ninjas who were good at water escape hiding in the water. But he also knew that Kakashi had his own plans, so he didn't bother to meddle. But when he stepped over the water stain, he deliberately stepped hard, feeling the fluctuations of the water under his feet. He could imagine how painful it was. After they all passed by, the 2 ghost brothers hidden in the water stain emerged. What was more dramatic was that one of them had a small bag on his head. "Kid, he's stepping on water so hard, I'll kill him first," the younger brother said viciously. "No, we have to kill the Jonin in the front first, otherwise the mission will fail." The brother who was not stepped on made a rational judgment. The opponent is a Jonin. This mission is a bit tricky, brother. Even a Jonin can be killed by a surprise attack, he is not invulnerable. The two looked at each other and quickly followed. The people of Team 7 seemed not to notice and continued to move forward slowly. Suddenly, the sound of chains came from behind, and in an instant, Kakashi's body was torn into 3 pieces. Teacher Kakashi. Sakura and Eri summation mouth. Haha, kill one first. The two were extremely excited. This was the first time in their lives that they had killed a Jonin. Yagyu and Sasuke looked at the pieces of wood on the ground meaningfully. Didn't you really check what you had killed? The quality of wood and human body is different, right? Didn't you notice anything when you tore it apart? No wonder the two were still Chunins at this age. They couldn't even notice this little detail. There was also a clumsy method of turning into roadside water to hide this. If it weren't for the two's natural brute force, I'm afraid even a genin could easily kill them. Next is this. The second target of the Ghost Brothers was Sakura, who seemed to be the weakest. But Sakura was not weak at all. Facing the double team of the two, she jumped out and appeared behind them. The Ghost Brothers obviously did not expect that this seemingly weakest girl would be so agile and were a little surprised for a moment. Fortunately, the two were also strong and quickly left their positions to avoid Sakura's kunai attack. The idea is difficult, kill the target first, Ghost Brother said. Good. The two gave up the plan to kill Yagyu first and planned to kill Dasna first. But it was Yagyu who was standing in front of Dasna, and the two of them rushing over was tantamount to seeking death. Get out of here, you little brat. The two men still used their favorite attack method, using the chain weapons in their hands to attack. But Yagayu did not dodge, and a kunai appeared out of thin air in his hand to deflect the two's attacks. Then he came to the side of the two men in an instant, and slowly said in a voice like an evil ghost, "Who do you think is that brat?" The two of them felt a chill in their hearts and stopped what they were doing. They didn't know why this seemingly harmless brat could whisper like a devil. And most importantly, what was going on with this terrible pressure? Even their superior Zabuza had never given them this terrible pressure. "Why aren't you talking anymore? Since you won't talk, just go and die." Yagayu didn't waste any words, and stabbed the two frightened guys through the heart with his kunai. Dasna, who was standing by, looked at the cruel method of the boy in front of him, feeling scared and relieved. If he had dared to say anything at that time, would there be another corpse lying on the ground now? "Yagayu, you shouldn't have killed them like this." Kakashi scratched his head and walked out from behind the tree with a helpless look on his face. He still wanted to interrogate the two of them about the forces behind them. Now that they were dead, he could only analyze it himself. Their purpose is clear. If you want to find out who is behind the other party, you don't need to go through so much trouble. Just ask Mr. Dasna and you will know. Dasna, who was pointed out by Lu Sheng, was immediately stared at by four people. This kind of pressure is extremely terrifying for an ordinary person like him. Dasna was sweating profusely, not knowing where to start. On the one hand, he was worried that if he told the truth, Team 7 would refuse the mission, and on the other hand, he was worried that if he lied, he would be killed by Yagayu. After all, Yagayu and his men looked much scarier than Cardo. The corpse of the ghost brother who had just provoked several people was still lying in front of him. This made him have to carefully consider whether his next words would be the last words of his life. "Mr. Dasna, if you can't tell the truth, then this mission can only be terminated. There was a ninja attack, which has exceeded the scope of your commission." Kakashi, who has always been a good man, rarely showed a serious expression. The scope of C-level missions is limited to those below ninja at most, and missions involving ninjas are all above B-level. If they lie about the mission, not only can they cancel the mission directly, but they also don't have to return the mission reward. Seeing that Kakashi didn't speak for him, Dasna knew that he couldn't hide it anymore, so he could only exaggerate Cardo's evil deeds in the land of waves with a sad face, hoping to get sympathy from Team 7. But the people in Team 7 are not nosy people. You said that Cardo exploited civilians, humiliated women, and closed the country in the land of waves. What does that have to do with me? The Hidden Mist village is still in the bloody massacre, why don't you go to help them? So when Dasna knelt down and begged them to continue to protect him, Yagayu and Sasuke chose to watch coldly. Sakura was somewhat persuaded. "Yagayu, how about we help him?" Yes, please help me. Do you want an 8-year-old child to cry all day facing the portrait of his dead grandfather?" Yagayu refused moral kidnapping and said lightly, "It's easy to ask us to help you. Give us money. Considering that we may encounter enemies with the strength of a Jonin next, we will pay according to the reward for A-level tasks. 150,000, I don't want more from you, the lowest price for A-level tasks." I don't have that much money. All the people in our village can only come up with 60,000 yuan. The rest of the money is used to build the bridge. Dasna's face was very ugly. This was really all he could come up with. Yagayu-kun. Sakura was still soft-hearted, and couldn't bear to see Dasna so miserable at his age. She pulled Yagayu's sleeve, hoping that Yagayu could say a few words for her. But Yagayu would not stand on Sakura's side on such matters. He had his own principles, and it was not a love affair. Although he couldn't help Dasna, Yagayu also gave Sakura a face and stopped making things difficult for Dasna. But it was absolutely impossible to get their help for free. "I'm not a philanthropist, why should I help you? Because you have a willful and unruly child. Or a beautiful widow daughter-in-law who is 28 years old and white-skinned." Seeing that Yagayu was unwilling to help, Sakura looked at Sasuke again. But Sasuke was obviously on Yagayu's side, and he would not burst out with sympathy to help this morally kidnapped old man. In the end, she had no choice but to look at teacher Kakashi. Kakashi was more sympathetic than Yagayu and Sasuke, but he was not very willing to bet his companions' lives to help this old man complete a dangerous task of unknown level. After careful consideration, Kakashi said that he needed to ask for Sarutobi Hiruzen's opinion. As the leader of the team, he must not leave the lives of his team members to luck without authorization. This mission is full of unknown dangers and must not be decided casually. Kakashi used the summoned beast to pass the information back. This place is not too far from Konoha, and it only takes a few hours to go back and forth. Before the decision of the third generation came, their Team 7 temporarily stopped the mission and stayed in place to rest. Dasna was a little anxious, because he had ordered the boatmen in the village to pick him up at a certain time. If they couldn't arrive on time, it would be troublesome to cross the river. But he didn't dare to urge the few people to get on the road. After all, he was in the wrong. Taking advantage of the rest time, Kakashi began to explain to the three people about the cultivation of summoned beasts. Although the three did not bring summoned beasts to practice, Kakashi summoned several summoned beasts he cultivated for the three people to refer to, which also made the three people understand more about the differences in the cultivation details. However, after listening for a few hours, Yagyu heard a truth. That is talent. Whether a summoned beast can be successfully cultivated has little to do with the beast pill, carefulness, and chakra. Because whether a beast can become a summoned beast is destined by nature, just like whether a person can become a ninja. Kakashi trained more than 1,000 dogs as summoned beasts during the training process, but among the 1,000 dogs, only Parker was the most special. The other summoned beasts were not intelligent enough, and at most they could store some chakra in their bodies and be summoned. If that was the case, the two rats he found would probably not be able to become summoned beasts like Parker. After all, if they had a high IQ, they wouldn't eat poison every day. A few hours passed quickly, and Parker brought back the answer from the third generation. Kakashi took the scroll from Parker's mouth, read it carefully several times, and said with a heavy face, "The mission continues. The mission continues, and Team 7 continues its journey." However, except for Yagyu, the expressions of everyone else in the team were even heavier. Because they knew that they would encounter more dangerous enemies on the road ahead. Kakashi, the mission continues, and the reward has increased. Yagyu came to Kakashi's side from the back to ask. He didn't want to work for free. Kakashi glanced at Yagyu, then at Dasna 2 positions behind, and slowly repeated Sarutobi Hiruzen's words. The third Hokage said that the mission continues, and the mission level has been upgraded to A level. The purpose is to contact the daimyo of Wave Country and cooperate to get rid of Cardo. So when we get to Wave Country, Dasna will be handed over to you for protection. I will go to the daimyo's mansion to discuss cooperation and strive to take control of Wave Country. Yagyu was speechless. He knew that the old man Sarutobi Hiruzen would not let them continue the mission for no reason. So this was his idea. He originally wanted to use this mission to open up business with Wave Country, but after learning that Cardo was involved and completely monopolized Wave Country, he wanted to get rid of Cardo directly. This so-called cooperation is probably not a simple cooperation, right? Yagyu said lightly. The Dragon Slayer is not necessarily a Dragon Slayer warrior, it may also be another evil dragon. Kakashi did not say much, but the silence gave the answer. The third generation meant to get rid of Cardo and control the daimyo of Wave Country on Cardo's behalf. This is not a cooperation, but an invasion. If Sakura knew the true intention of the third generation, would she still insist on helping Dasna? However, as ninjas, they have never had so much charity, only positions. Everything is for the benefit of Konoha. This is a truth that almost all ninjas understand, including the roots. Without talking along the way, the people of Team 7 soon arrived at the border between Konoha and Wave Country. Fortunately, the boat arranged by Dasna did not let them miss it. Their speed was not fast or slow, but they still arrived just in time. A group of 5 people got on the boat to Wave Country and slowly left the land with the ripples of the water. Endless fog began to spread. In this country surrounded by water, the fog is surprisingly more. When they went deep into the center of the water, the fog was so thick that they couldn't see their fingers clearly. They didn't know how the boatman steered the boat forward in such a place. Would he really not get lost? Although several people were puzzled, the boatman was a cold person. Or a cautious person. He was afraid of making any noise and provoking the existence that should not be provoked, so he dared not say a word. Yagyu and the others were also cold people, So even though it was their first time on the sea, they did not feel excited. Be alert. They seemed to be unguarded, but they were always alert to everything around them. The fog in the sky gave people an extremely uneasy feeling. After several hours, they arrived at the shore of the land of waves without any danger. After dropping them off, the boatman sped away, fearing that he would cause trouble. Dasna showed gratitude and concern in his eyes. Sorry for the trouble, be careful on the road. Yeah, you too. The boatman lowered his straw hat and headed for the endless sea. Dasna was also ready to lead the way, but was stopped by Kakashi. Mr. Dasna, I will be away from the team for a while on the next journey. Your safety will be in the charge of my 3 subordinates. How could it be that if you leave? Don't worry, Mr. Dasna, my subordinates are all very strong, and their strength is not weaker than mine. And I am not the kind of person who will casually put the lives of my subordinates in danger. Kakashi gave Dasna verbal comfort and called the 3 Yagyu to come closer. I believe in the strength of all 3 of you, but you lack experience, so I will leave Parker with you as a warning. Kakashi used the summoning technique to summon Parker again. Parker, please follow them and protect Mr. Dasna later. Parker looked at the 4 people humanely, and finally found Sakura and jumped on her shoulders. Sasuke and Yagyu both had dangerous auras comparable to Kakashi, especially Yagyu, who gave him an unfathomable feeling. Among the 4 people, except for the dying old man, only this little girl was easy to bully. I understand. You can go without worry. Parker scratched his neck with his foot, and a few dog hairs fell on Sakura's shoulders. Kakashi couldn't help but shed a cold sweat for Parker after seeing this scene, and looked at Yagyu. Sure enough, his eyes had become scary. Liu Shang, be gentle. I'll try not to kill it. After being beaten up by Yagyu, the bully Parker obediently led the way. But the way he limped was quite funny. Kakashi left first after seeing that Parker's life was not in danger. No one backed Parker up, causing Parker to tremble with fear every step he took. How terrible. What a terrible mission. What a terrible man. What a terrible human being. My life is like walking on thin ice. Yagyu kicked Parker on the butt. What are you talking to yourself about? Without. It's nothing, sir. Call me Lord Yagyu. Okay, Master Yagyu. Parker smiled and didn't dare to show any dissatisfaction. Since he became enlightened, he has never suffered such grievances in his life. Even his summoner, Kakashi, didn't dare to do this to him. But this devilish man actually used violence and cold violence against himself. I'm so miserable. Sniff, sniff. Because he smelled a strange smell, Parker suddenly stopped and sniffed on the spot. The result was that Yagyu kicked him again. What did you find? What a strange smell. This smell is like the prey I used to like to catch. Parker ignored Yagyu's kick and said to himself. What prey? Snow rabbits. Parker said seriously, this kind of rabbit shouldn't appear in this kind of place and season. There's a problem, be careful. Obviously, this was a warning of danger from Parker. Sasuke and Sakura became alert, and Dasna also became nervous. He knew that the next person to appear would be the one who would take his life. Suddenly, there was a sound of breaking air in the air. Be careful. Parker was the most sensitive and noticed it first, and immediately warned everyone. A large knife appeared out of thin air, spinning and flying towards Dasna. Just as it was about to behead Dasna, Sasuke flashed in front of Dasna and used the kunai in his hand to try to block the knife. But he underestimated the power of the knife and was thrown out. Sasuke. Sakura saw Sasuke suffer and immediately expressed her worry. However, Sasuke was not injured, but the kunai in his hand was cut off by the sword. The terrifying power was shocking. The enemy is very strong, be careful, Sasuke said solemnly. Sakura understood and immediately stood in front of Dasna, holding a kunai and keeping alert. At this time, Zabuza also walked out of the fog, looked at Sasuke with admiration and said, Kid, you are quite strong, you can actually take my sword. Zabuza, who was wrapped in bandages, gave a great impact, and his murderous intent in the sea of corpses and blood put a lot of pressure on Sasuke and Sakura. It felt like someone was stabbing his heart hard with his hand, and he could be killed with just a little force. Fortunately, the two were not weak in strength, and they recovered from the fear in an instant. Isn't it just killing a lot of people? Killing a lot of people doesn't mean you are strong. If you have the ability, fight with real swords and guns. Huh, Zabuza looked at Sasuke and Sakura in surprise. He had clearly seen fear in them just now, but it disappeared in an instant. Such psychological quality is not like that of an ordinary genin. Thinking of this, Zabuza looked at Yagyu, who seemed to have nothing to do with him. Compared with Sasuke and Sakura, who showed fear for a second due to their lack of experience, this kid is more noticeable. Being able to directly ignore the murderous intent and pressure of a Jonin, this kid is not an ordinary genin. Maybe he is the leading Jonin hidden among them. He knew that Konoha's team was in groups of 4, but after he found a few people, he did not see the leading ninja, but only saw 3 kids and a dog. He did not believe that the dog would be the leading ninja, so the most likely one was this kid. However, he guessed at first that the target old man was the leading Jonin, using the transformation technique to disguise himself as the target person. Many ninjas would use such skills, especially for tasks such as protecting people. But when his beheading sword was thrown over just now, the old man was almost scared to death. The other party is either really the target person or a hidden genin. Hey, kid, you are the leader of this team, right? What's your name? I've never heard of a person like you in Konoha. Zabuza looked at Yagyu and asked. Yagyu felt uncomfortable being called a kid, and was about to attack, but Sasuke took the lead. Finally, I met a strong opponent, let me do it. Seeing Sasuke and Zabuza fighting, Yagyu could only give up. But he would not let others help him get revenge. Leave me half a life, I will kill him with my own hands. Good. Zabuza was very angry at the two people's reckless discussion of his life. You two little brats, you really think you're a big shot. Zabuza angrily swung his beheading sword and knocked Sasuke out again. But Sasuke quickly stopped and pulled out a long sword from behind. Disease. Secret technique. Moon shadow. Instantly, Sasuke disappeared from the spot. When he reappeared, he was already behind Zabuza. Zabuza seemed to be frozen in time and did not move. The next moment, blood gushed out of Zabuza's chest. He was careless. He did not dodge. If he had not reacted quickly to avoid the fatal injury, he would have been beheaded. Zabuza wiped the blood on his chest with an ugly face and made seals with his hands. Mist hidden technique. 8 places: throat, spine, lungs, liver, carotid artery and subclavian vein, kidneys, heart. 8 fatal parts. Guess where I will attack. The thick fog covered Zabuza's position, but his ghostly voice came from all directions, giving people great psychological pressure. Sakura and Sasuke were a little nervous when they faced this kind of battle for the first time. But Sasuke was a little excited besides being nervous. The stronger the enemy, the stronger I will be if I defeat him. Parker was standing vigilantly at Sakura's feet at this time, and suddenly his dog hair exploded. Be careful, they're coming for us. Parker's nose is very sharp, and he can determine the enemy's position even if he can't see anyone. However, although Parker was very alert, he was still slow. The next second after Parker's warning, Zabuza appeared behind Sakura. At this time, Sakura felt cold all over, and the breath of death was everywhere. Rasengan. Without thinking too much, he rolled the ball with his bare hands and threw it at the unknown target behind him. Zabuza was about to kill Sakura with a knife, but when he felt the horrible pressure from his abdomen, he immediately backed off. This stupid woman wants to die with me. Zabuza, who was shocked and angry, quickly used his water clone to die in his place, and his real body narrowly avoided the attack. Can a genin really use that kind of ninjutsu? Zabuza, who had hidden himself again, was in deep doubt. A swordsmanship expert cut himself with a sword. A ninjutsu expert used A-level ninjutsu with his bare hands. And an unfathomable kid who hadn't made a move yet but was giving people a lot of pressure. What kind of team is this? A group of Jonin, or Konoha's Anbu? The idea is a bit tricky. Zabuza hides in the fog, no longer as confident as before. These 3 people are not easy to kill. It seems that we can only find a way to kill the target person first. But it is not clear who is the leader of this team. If that old man is, then it will be troublesome. Zabuza's brainstorming kept thinking of countermeasures, but before he could think of a solution, Sasuke found his position and killed him. On the tree 13 meters to the left. That dog. Zabuza ignored the fact that his missed hidden technique was restrained by Parker, so he was caught by Sasuke again. Uchiha style. Hikari dance. The flaming sword pierced through Zabuza's body, causing him to stiffen. The next second, flames ignited from Zabuza's body and shot straight into the sky. Ah! The miserable cry seemed to indicate who was the winner of this battle. But before Sasuke could be happy, a figure suddenly appeared behind him. Without saying much, the kunai stabbed directly at Sasuke's neck. The subtle sound of breaking through the air made Sasuke realize that something was wrong, and he subconsciously used the substitution technique to leave the spot. Zabuza stabbed a piece of wood, but there were small traces of blood on the kunai, indicating that his sneak attack just now was not without success. Finally feeling the advantage, Zabuza couldn't help but smile, with the corners of his mouth slightly raised. He has been at a disadvantage for so long, and I thought he was assassinating the Mizukage in the Hidden Mist village. Thinking of how he was suppressed by 3 little ghosts just now, Zabuza looked unhappy. 3 stinky little brats, and that stinky dog and that stinky old man. Cursing silently, Zabuza disappeared from the spot. He had to find a way to get rid of the stinky dog first, otherwise Sasuke would always find opportunities to attack him. He could react once or twice, but it was impossible for him to dodge every time. On the other side of the tree, Sasuke was looking at Zabuza's burned body with a serious face. Zabuza, who should have turned into charcoal, turned into a pool of water at this time. Water clone. The opponent is good at water escape, which has a great restraining effect on his fire escape. And because he himself does not have water attribute chakra, he can't use the copy ability of the Sharingan to fight with the opponent with the same attribute. So if he wants to win, he has to rely on swordsmanship. It's just that the thick fog affects his vision. If he uses the crescent moon dance, it may not work. It's a pity that he doesn't know wind escape, otherwise he wouldn't be so passive. Sasuke used his Sharingan to find Zabuza's trace in the fog, but his Sharingan could not penetrate objects like the Byakugan to see outside, and there was no way to detect the movement of the opponent's chakra. The opponent's difficulty was beyond his imagination. Parker, 6 meters in front of you on the right. So close. Sasuke jumped away immediately. Zabuza, who was about to launch a sneak attack but failed, became more determined to kill Parker. 15 meters northwest. 7 meters to the northeast. 2 meters southwest. Puck kept cooperating with Sasuke to attack Zabuza. Under Sasuke's continuous attack, even a strong man like Zabuza suffered injuries several times. Water clone technique. Zabuza decided not to be passive anymore and separated several water clones to attack Puck. The water clones are colorless and tasteless, or they only smell like water. Puck can't be sure what is rushing towards him, but it is definitely dangerous. So he immediately hid behind Sakura and shouted, "Sakura-sama, protect me." Sakura also took the lead, holding a long sword in her hand and rushed towards several water clones of Zabuza. There is a gap in strength between Sakura and Zabuza, but she can still easily deal with a water clone that has less than half of Zabuza's strength. Secret technique. Moon Shadow. With a flash, Sakura killed one of Zabuza's water clones. But there were still several water clones attacking Sakura, so she didn't dare to stop. Rasengan. Sakura held a sword in one hand and a Rasengan in the other, and the battle with Zabuza's water clone was hard to distinguish. However, because she did not have much chakra, she could not use the Rasengan continuously, and could only use swordsmanship to tangle with Zabuza's remaining clones. Seeing Sakura stopped his water clones, Zabuza suddenly felt even more difficult. He knew that it would be difficult to defeat this team head-on by himself. So he could only shout to the darkness, "Bye, do it." Ice Release Secret Technique. Magic Mirror Ice Crystal. A long-haired boy wearing a mist-hidden assassination force mask suddenly appeared and summoned countless ice mirrors to trap Dazna and Puck inside. Sakura was restrained by Zabuza's water clone and could not spare time to protect Dazna. She could only secretly think that it was not good. "I'm sorry, I have to kill you." Bai's masked face appeared in every mirror, and voices came from all directions. Such a weird scene frightened Dazna and Parker. Secret technique. 1,000 water shooting kill. Countless thousands of water flying densely from all directions. The threat of death made Parker unable to be strong anymore, and he began to cry and scream. Lord Yagayu, Save me. Kakashi will be very sad if I die. Sigma, Su degree D degree, Su. Uchiha style. Halo dance. A flaming sword seemed to descend from the sky around Puck and Dazna, destroying all the Senbon. The terrifying flames made the ice mirror unable to withstand the high temperature and began to melt. If Bai hadn't increased the release of chakra at this time, I'm afraid his secret technique would have been cracked by now. What a terrible fire escape. The face under the white mask dripped with countless cold sweat. Looking at Lu Sheng in the center, his face was very solemn and sad. He was going to kill one more person. Seeing Lu Sheng's handsome appearance, Parker hugged his thigh regardless of his image. Woohoo, Lord Yagyu, you are finally here. Get out of here. Lu Sheng kicked Parker away coldly and looked at the dog hair stuck to his trouser legs with disdain. If you dare to put dog hair on me again, I will pluck all your hair out and make soup, understand? Parker nodded cautiously and lowered his head to check his hair. Why is he losing so much hair recently? Did he eat something he shouldn't have recently? Or is it because of the climate and water? It must be because the land of waves is too humid that my handsome dog hair is falling off. Land of waves. Secret technique. 1000 water shooting kill. Bai attacked again at this time. Countless water 1000 cards flew towards the few people from all angles. Although Yagyu used a sword to stop all his 1000 cards just now, in Bai's opinion, this move must consume a lot of chakra and it is impossible to use it frequently. But he obviously made a wrong calculation. Yagyu's strength is 100 times that of Sasuke, and his chakra is naturally 100 times that of Sasuke. Sasuke's chakra is about the same as Kakashi's, about 1 card. Yagyu's chakra is 100 cards. Compared with consumption, he is not afraid even if he faces 10 Uzumaki Naruto. Fire style. Susanoo. Without making any hand seals, Yagyu just chanted in a deep voice, and countless flames appeared out of thin air and enveloped him. The next moment, a 100-meter tall flaming giant suddenly appeared. What is this? Bai was shocked to see his water 1000 bones being engulfed by the giant flame without even a ripple. Dazna was in the flames, and his fear was even greater than Bai's. He was afraid that the raging flames would touch him and burn him to death. Parker was completely different. As a dog, although he was also afraid of flames, he also felt proud when he saw that the man who subdued him was so powerful. That proud expression seemed to say, look, not everyone can make me surrender. If you bully me in the future, you have to pee and look at yourself to see if you can arm wrestle with Lord Yagyu. Taking Yagyu as the standard, Parker felt that his worth had skyrocketed. After all, such a strong man would never look at him straight in the eye before, and now he actually knew such an adult. This special emotion made Parker think of defecting from Kakashi and joining Yagyu's men. Yagyu didn't know Parker's thoughts. If he knew, he would definitely not mind digging into Kakashi's corner. After all, Parker's strong sense of smell could completely replace poison testing, and he didn't need to use mice for experiments when facing some unknown food. Cut. With Lu Sheng's indifferent tone, the fire giant summoned a flaming giant sword out of thin air and slashed at Bai's ice mirror. In an instant, all the ice mirrors shattered, and Bai flew out of the mirror, breaking several trees, vomiting blood, and fainted. Bai. Zabuza, who witnessed all this, was furious. He gave up fighting Uchiha Sasuke and flew to Yagyu. Water escape technique. Water dragon bullet technique. Before Zabuza could finish his hand seal, Yagyu's flaming giant stepped on him. How can you survive in the ninja world with such a long prequel? Yagyu's eyes were full of contempt. The first man who was evenly matched with Kakashi fell at his feet so easily, and it was unknown whether he was dead or alive. Good. So powerful. Dazna, Sakura, Puck, and Sasuke were all shocked as they looked at the godlike Yagyu, with their hearts filled with complicated emotions. Dazna. Is this a genin? Can he kill a jonin in one move? Sakura. Yagyu-kun is more powerful than I thought. Puck. I'm sorry Kakashi, Yagyu-sama is stronger than you. Sasuke. Am I still so far away from him? Yagyu-kun, these two are still alive, what should we do? Sakura asked after checking their breath. Yagyu didn't look at Zabuza, and came to Bai in an instant. He took off his mask, and a face that was more beautiful than most women appeared in front of him. This person turned out to be a beautiful sister. Sakura was surprised. Yagayu looked at his Adam's apple and said, "He's a man, kill him." Oh, Sakura was a little surprised, not knowing whether she was surprised by Yagayu's decision or by's gender. However, she did not question Yagayu's decision, and chopped off the heads of the two men with a knife. Dasna was a little horrified by Yagayu's decisiveness in killing. He decided the lives of others so easily. This man was too scary. Yagayu checked the bodies of the two men, and after confirming that there was no possibility of resurrection, he blew up a pit and buried the two men in it. In his previous life, he still respected the affection between the two men. In order to prevent the two men from being exposed in the wilderness, Yagayu spent some time to give them a resting place. Let's go. After compacting the earth bags of the two men, the team of 3 men and 1 dog continued to move forward. After Zabuza and Haku died, Yagayu's mission was no longer dangerous. Yagayu had thought that Kato would come with a large group of samurai to seek death, but when Kakashi came back the next day with a bloody smell and a gloomy face, he knew that the mission was over. Kato is dead, Mr. Dasna will not be in danger anymore. But because the mission requires you to protect Mr. Dasna until the bridge is built, you have to stay here until he finishes the bridge. The 3 Yagayu nodded. Anyway, they received an A-level reward and Konoha subsidies, so staying here for a month or so is not a waste of time. From now on, 1 person will protect Dasna every day, and the other 2 will practice, so it won't be a waste of time. Besides, I have other tasks so I have to leave for a while. Parker. What's wrong, Kakashi? Parker was standing in the corner. If Kakashi hadn't called him, no one would have noticed his presence. Kakashi looked him up and down and said, "I'm glad you're okay." Parker. "I have Master Liu Sheng to protect me, don't worry," Parker said proudly. Master Yagayu. Kakashi was stunned for a moment and looked at Yagayu. He remembered that before he left, the man and the dog disliked each other. How come after just a few days of not seeing each other, Parker became Yagayu's lackey? Kakashi, come here to discuss something with you. Parker pulled Kakashi away and whispered, "I want to sign a summoning contract with Yagayu, do you have any objection?" In fact, for a summoning beast with high intelligence like Parker, it is entirely up to it to decide who to sign a summoning contract with. But Parker is different from wild summoning beasts. It was trained by Kakashi since childhood. Now it wants to have another master, and Kakashi's consent must be obtained in any case. Kakashi is not just a simple contractual relationship or partner for it. From a certain perspective, Kakashi can even be regarded as its family and mentor. Hearing that Parker was going to sign a summoning contract with someone else, Kakashi's first emotion was a little sad. It felt like the peach tree he had cultivated for many years was picked by Monkey King passing by. However, this emotion was fleeting, and he still respected Parker's own ideas. Moreover, Yagayu was also his half-disciple, his subordinate, so letting Parker follow Yagayu was also a kind of inheritance. "I have no objection." Kakashi smiled slightly, then turned to Yagayu and waved, "Yagayu, come here for a moment. It wants to sign a contract with me." Yagayu looked incredulous. Even though they were some distance apart, he could still hear the conversation between the man and the dog clearly. He didn't remember being kind to Parker. At most, he saved Parker's life. Was he repaying a favor? Or was Parker actually a trembling dog? "Well, since you have heard our conversation just now, what is your opinion? Are you willing to let Puck be your summoning beast?" Kakashi asked with a smile, his kind face like an old father who is about to marry his daughter. Yagayu was a little hesitant, he still admired Puck's many abilities. First of all, Puck understands animal language, which can help him translate, making it easier for him to communicate with other beasts or summoning beasts. Secondly, Puck's nose is very sensitive, which can completely replace the existence of the possum, so that he will not be poisoned. Finally, and also Parker's best point, IQ. Although Parker has no combat power, he can completely lead the team on a mission alone. He is a dog that can be trusted at critical moments. But the disadvantage is also obvious, it is too ugly. I hope everyone will support it and subscribe more.